All right, and welcome to episode 14, season 2 of the Jumping the Rail podcast. This is Mark Rebin coming to you from Champaign, Illinois, joined by my buddies. I got Minderz with me from the 01 Shootout. Minderz, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. It's weird we don't have a shootout this week until after Thursday night, so this is going to be a little bit.
A little
So
different. A little
we,
different this week.
I don't know, we might get into a little bonus 01 stuff in this episode, just to kind of get it out of our system, but
Okay,
as
sounds
a
good.
bonus. And we are also joined by my tag team partner, the Sausage King of Bismarck, Gary Vestelio. Gary, you're a bundle of energy as always, my friend.
Yes, sir.
And hello to Dwayne. He's in the chat. This is how I like it, Dwayne. When you're in the comments before I am, you're just Johnny on the spot. Uh, so for start, we got a lot to talk about. We got Elimination Chamber to talk about. New Japan. Of course, Mercedes debuted in New Japan on Saturday, and we'll get into that a little bit. I know you guys probably didn't watch that show, but I did. I think I can fill you in sufficiently. But there's something I wanted to bring up at the top. I mentioned it on our Facebook today. There's kind of a ongoing, I don't know if you want to call it a clusterfuck, but of it seems like wrestling fans are kind of forgetting how boundaries work. Well, and there's three big instances where that's popped up, but it just, I mean, come on, people, for fuck's sake. I mean, you got to use your head a little bit. I mean, there was Speedball, Mike Bailey, and GCW actually got kicked by I'm going to assume a drunk fan at the GCW show on Saturday, which he's not the one to kick because he will kick you back. And
Okay.
also he was wrestling Nick Gage. So if
Jeez.
so if Nikki got pissed, he would have pulled out that pizza cutter and made you a corn dog with it, you know.
Yeah, I could see
But
that happening.
but yeah, Speedball hasn't commented. He said he's gonna comment on his own live stream tomorrow about that. So I'll be curious what he says about it. But the underlying issue seems to be fans just bothering people when they really probably shouldn't. The the top the big story from last week was somebody in the airport trying to take video of Rey Mysterio without his mask on and get him to sign some stuff like that. And I'll be the first one to say Rey never should have put his mask back on in 2002 when he showed up in WWE because it's it now I've said it on this show before. It's kind of pissing all over Lucha Libre tradition to put the mask back on. Gary, am I right?
Oh, yeah. I agree. But, I mean, it sold a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's the main reason they put it back on him to sell merchandise. I mean, Vince, it's all about the money. He always said it. But yeah,
Yeah.
but in this case, I mean, the guy's in the airport. I'm gonna guess it was early in the morning. He's probably trying to catch a flight, and this guy's trying to, and it's clearly he's getting this stuff signed for resale purposes. He's probably gonna try to make a buck off of him, and then getting video with him with the mask off, and it's just, yeah, it's just a bad invasion of privacy. I think Ray handled it well. Uh, I have a picture here. Yeah, it's yeah. This is just
Yeah.
a screenshot of the guy trying to get video. You don't see Ray's head, obviously. Just they got his upper torso, and there's the jackass trying to get something autographed there. But yeah, there's so many instances of that, and it's and yeah, Dwayne. That's kind of my point, but it's still a respect thing, if it's if you want to see a 50-year-old man who looks like he's 13, I mean, you can see him in the airport. Just,
Oh,
don't ruin it for everybody else,
good old Oscar.
Yeah, and the thing I want people to remember is a lot of WE fans are kids that probably didn't watch WCW in the late 90s. That probably had never seen him with his mask off before. So it's like pulling the beard off of a department store Santa Claus in this case,
Okay, I got two sides to this. The
Okay.
first one is it kind of reverts to what I think is kind of wrong with society in general right now because I'm an old man. But this is fairly scientific. There's some studies I've read. So like when we were kids, we watched TV, but we were forced to go outside. We were forced to do things in school. We weren't. We every once in a while we got like a movie Friday, but like the generation that grew up after us always had television on. They always had a new commercial, they had a new show, and then they had computers, and then they had phones, and they have tablets, and there's always something in front of their face. And if they want to be entertained, they just flip to the next thing. It's constant. There's never a time when this generation has to be bored, where they always get what they want. And ADD numbers have went up, autism numbers have went up, all these things have went up, and it's rewiring brains. So it's not technically their fault, it's their parents' fault, it's society's fault. It's easier to set a kid. How many kids do you know that when as soon as they get into a van or something, their parents shove a tablet in their face? And it's no longer, hey kids, let's talk or whatever. No, it's just this will keep you from screaming. Well, in school, they're looking at. So all these people are going out into society just with a wired brain to think, hey, when I want something, I should just have it. So if I want 30 Funko Pops signed, well, Ray's the one that's wrong for not wanting to sign that. No, that's just dumb. I would, if I were Ray, I'd sign one and tell him, be thankful I signed one. And if he wasn't, I would stop signing because I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it. And that's part of wrestling fans now, period, that they have to have spot after spot after spot after spot. Like they can't just wait. Like they can't wait on a storyline even. If a storyline cooks for even a few weeks, they're like, oh, this is taking forever. No, it's just marinating, man. Like that's how storytelling works. It's long form. And so that's why everything gets hot shotted now, because people don't have an attention span. And it's not necessarily their fault.
No.
But now here's the second part of that. So here's the back in the day. So if the guy would have kicked Mike back in the day, if it was the Dudleys or something, he might get punched in the face. On the other side of that coin, wrestlers used to know the dangers of going into the crowd. Ask the Malenko brothers. They got stabbed a few times on their way out because they were heels.
Right. Ask Piper.
Ask Piper. Ask when those guys jumped Dust. When those guys jumped, was it the Von Erichs or Dusty in the ring? They couldn't leave the cage.
Oh, the Horseman?
Yeah, the
Horseman. Yeah, that was Dusty.
Yeah,
that was Dusty.
When they couldn't leave the cage until the cops got there, and they still got the crap kicked out of them on the way back because those were their fans because they were heels. So I think it's a kind of a double-edged sword here because you got a fan there who is apparently invested in, and GCW fans are way more invested than any other fans. They already do crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, they are.
So as a wrestler, if you go out in that crowd, there's a chance somebody might hit you with something because they brought something to hit people with. So I think there's now there's like, oh well, you shouldn't do that. But do you want realism? Do you want how far are you pushing this? Are you saying no, I don't want people to believe anymore? And if you don't, that's killing the business. It's going to kill. Like you have to have fans left somewhere that think it's real enough that they want to interact. Now, was he dumb? Yes. Now, if you would have done that to a Samoan, he probably would have got smacked.
Still might.
And he still might. And
Some don't look like he fucks around.
Yeah. So like, it's kind of a double-edged thing. Like you're GCW, you jump into the crowd. Like that would be like an ECW if some fan decked Rob Van Dam for jumping on him from out of the ring. I might have done that myself because you're sitting in the crowd. I've went to ECW shows. I never signed any waiver. that said I'm okay with that. I don't know how they never got sued. But
Oh,
yeah,
I'm willing to bet they did, but Paul,
Yeah.
he's a slick motherfucker, so he probably was
I
able to.
I might have punched him right in the mouth because that's 200 pounds of dude like hitting you, like you're
Yeah.
sitting there at a show.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to go into the crowd, I think you should be willing to take the chance of something stupid happening because you've already engaged in said stupid activity. You're wrestling Nick Gage. You're already involved in a very stupid activity.
Yes.
Ask,
Now,
ask
now,
David Arquette about
Right?
activities
that was
involving
Arquette's
Nick Gage.
that was Arquette's fault. He panicked. If he hadn't freaked out, he would have been fine.
Well,
But
yeah, you
play devil's advocate here.
you get in that same match and tell me about fault and panic.
No.
But yeah, I think it's I think it's partially society is just wired to want what they want, and so they're just they don't have any muzzle anymore. When when we were younger, if we saw wrestlers out or if we saw somebody, we kind of had that little bit of like, don't be a mark.
Mm-hmm.
Now nobody has that anymore because they're like, oh, I want an autograph, I want a selfie, I want this, I want that. It's what they want.
I deserve this.
Person.
They think.
I deserve this, and that's probably what it mostly is. But on the other hand, you're a professional wrestler. You fight people in a ring for a living. And if somebody lightly kicks you in the butt and you get upset because that wasn't a hard kick, and you get that upset, and when you turn around and you see that dude is not a threat, and you're upset about it at a GCW show, maybe you need to not complain so much. Now, if the guy like hit him with the chair, I get it.
Yeah.
You arrest that guy.
Yeah.
But the guy like he's not going to get his foot up any higher than that even. Like the dude he's not like a Division 1 athlete.
No.
He was just a guy at a wrestling show, and I think people are blowing it out of proportion.
That one, it might be getting a little. I mean, I think Bailey was more annoyed than like super angry, but I mean, we'll find out more tomorrow. He'll talk about it. But Dwayne made a comment on here that's very telling. He said, "The internet is the worst thing to happen to wrestling." Now, if you guys remember, in Nards, I see you're in the comments. I think it was our first or second episode, and Minderz, we'll get your take on this here in a second. I think it was our first or second episode. We used to do this point counterpoint thing, and I think that was the first one we did. Is the internet bad for wrestling? And we had a probably 25-minute long debate between Nards, myself, and Marco about the pros and cons of it. And so yeah, we've had that take for a long time on this show. Minderz, what's your take on all this? Gary made some really good points there.
He did. I know I just saw today where Britt Baker was complaining too, the doctor.
Yeah, I saw that.
Saw where she was complaining. She's like, so you guys bought tickets for tonight's show, right? And she's got a point though.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to be offered, I guess, well, we're going to Squared Circle Expo.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to try to force any of those guys. They're there to make money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. So if that's how they're making their money, that's how they're making their money. I saw where you put this up today, and I think Stacy made a great point. Read the room. If you see them, if you're going to see wrestlers out in a restaurant and they're trying to kind of keep it low key, whatever, leave them alone.
Yeah.
They're people too.
Yeah. And that goes for just all celebrities, not just wrestlers, athletes, musicians, actors. If you see them out in public, they probably don't want to be bothered,
Right, exactly. And but if it's, like she kind of said, if they're at a bar or something like that, and they're not really trying to hide who they are, hey, just go up and ask, be like, hey, is it cool if we do this? If they say no, okay, walk away. Mm-hmm. It's not that big. It can't be that big of a deal.
Yeah. Talking about Squared Circle, I was there last year, and at the end, after the wrestling show on the Saturday, which is the last day of the expo, and everybody was filing out, and the wife and I were going to take off, go back to the hotel, and I saw Brian Pillman Jr. sitting at the bar, just just hanging. Like it was, he'd wrestled, and I think he was just getting water or something. And I made a point not to go up and talk to him because for the same reason you just said, Minderz, he was meeting people and getting paid for it for the whole weekend, and I thought it would have been not cheap, but probably I think inappropriate to go up and bug him
For
without.
me, it's in bad taste.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
I
it's
think
just
that's
in
what I
bad
was looking
taste.
for.
Yeah, it's just bad taste. Now, I'm going to agree with Gary that Speedball should get over himself because you're at
Yeah.
a GCW show. Come on now.
Right. Like I said, I don't know how serious he's taking it because like I said, he hasn't really commented on it yet. Narge, this is a good rule of thumb, and not surprising it came from Bill Murray. If they're out drinking, socializing, introduce yourself. Bill Murray's rule is introduce yourself to me. Don't ask for things, which is it's a good rule of thumb to have.
Well, wasn't it Randy Orton that some guy had went up to him while he was in the bathroom? Or somebody went up to him
I
and
think so, and I've heard that story too. I've seen wrestlers in the bathroom, but that is not the time to bother them when they.
no, it's not. Not at all.
I mean, I've had bosses at work asking me questions about work while I'm using the bathroom, and I just kind of tilt my head and then wait till I'm done. And it's like, what are you doing? I'm not talking to you right now. Like, so like, I don't get that. But like I said, some people now, especially, they just want.
Yeah.
And when they want, they want it now. They don't have that society used to be built on this idea that you had to wait for things. Like even television back in the day, you got an episode per week, but that season would be split up by like a month. So you had 20 some episodes, and that was split up over like half a year. So
Yeah.
cliffhangers were cliffhangers, like I
You
didn't
couldn't skip
know.
commercials.
I didn't know for almost a complete like 6 months or more if they were going to save Picard from being Locutus. Like, and I just
You're losing me.
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh, I got that from Picard, but I don't know who
got-
Pacutus is or whatever.
Oh, well, just deep dive nerding. But
Hey, there's nothing
now-
wrong with it.
But now, like, you have everything that's on. People get mad when something on streaming doesn't come out in a block, and they can't just binge the whole thing and then forget about it 2 weeks later. They're like, "Oh, I gotta wait a whole week." It's like it's only 10 episodes now, man. Like it's only going to take you 10 weeks to finish this whole thing. Like you can wait, and people don't want to wait. So I can kind of get it, but like, I mean, all my meeting wrestler stories like are just I saw Raven and Simon's dick in a gas station after a show.
That was a guy for people that don't know.
Yeah, and
it wasn't a pantsless Simon Diamond.
We were kind of following him around the store, and I'm sure he clocked us, but we were just listening to him tell a story about how Philly marked out for 911 choke slamming Santa Claus. He's like, only in Philly would they mark out for Santa getting choke slammed.
Although I think they would in Detroit also.
But, and I've seen Psychosis without a mask in a Waffle House.
Yeah.
And Scott Steiner and Christian, and I've seen them all in like Denny's, but I just was like, hey, that's really cool. I didn't want to stop them and say, hey, can you sign my napkin? Even though like Christian's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, I was just like, hey, they're leaving. They're on their way back on the road. This is morning. They're on their shot out. So I think we're past that now. The generation beneath us, and from this point on, their patience isn't there to wait. They don't want to wait for anything. They don't want to wait for big stuff or little stuff. And so I think it's going to be harder to keep their attention. It's going to be harder to tell them, hey, these are the rules. And they're going to be like, well, why do I got to follow? I just want this. So I don't know. It's just But
Sounds like the opinion of some politicians out there these days too, but we don't get into politics on this show, so I'll leave it at that.
yeah,
Uh, and if that was your way of subtly hinting you want to play Paula Cole songs and Third Wheels shows, Gary,
where have all the
it's gonna
cowboys
be a
gone?
hard. Well, you're saying I don't want to wait. That goes off the streak for me, but that's a hard pass for me. So
Is that a Paula Cole song?
yeah,
That's the
Yeah.
Dawson's Creek song, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Which whenever I hear it, I only think of Samuel L. Jackson singing it at I think one of the MTV Awards.
Yep.
Good times.
Oh.
So, kind of sticking with that, and we talked about Ray. We mentioned Britt Baker. Zelina Vega had a post where she had a quote here, kind of on the same lines. If you ask me to sign something at the airport, especially on my layover, I don't know how you found me there, which is, yeah, creepy. And I do not sign all the items you brought, and you snatched the marker out of my hand. I'm never signing for any of you again. I say good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they don't have to do anything.
No,
They don't have to sign ever.
they are off the clock. They are literally just.
They're
and
trying
like I
to
said,
get from one place to another. Leave
Like,
them the hell alone.
Well, like the crazy thing is, if you watch those backstage things, like, and man, if I were a wrestling promoter, they're carnies anyway. I would just have some dude signing. It wouldn't be like Cody Rhodes. I wouldn't be like paying Cody Rhodes time
yeah.
for 3 hours to sign like glossies.
Right.
It would be some dude that put the ring together. Nobody is going to know.
Well,
He has
I
a
remember,
point.
Yeah, I remember somebody online complaining because when Sasha Banks was a heel, she used to always sign things with the stamp. Like she'd stamp ahead, and she would do that when, like, for autographs too, I guess. And somebody was like, "Oh, she didn't even bother signing this. She just put a stamp." Like, it's her fucking gimmick.
Yeah.
Let's let it go. For fuck's sake.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's like Virgil. I think he's still sold a bunch of glossies of him and DiBiase, but he just signed both ends. I
well,
think Beefcake did that with Hogan.
one of my favorite celebrities of all time is Steve Martin, and as far as I know, when he
Yes.
would meet people, he would just give them a card that says "You have met Steve Martin." He wouldn't
Okay, that's
sign.
great.
He wouldn't sign anything, but
That's
like
great.
it's still like a one of a kind thing. The only person on the planet with that card is Steve Martin. And he's like, "Yes, hello, I'm Steve Martin." He would hand you a card and he would walk away. And I would have been ecstatic about that. Just like, I got a Steve Martin card. Like, but yeah, no, they don't owe you anything. It's dumb. But yeah, I wouldn't sign anything when I was on my own dime.
No.
Maybe if it was like a little kid with like one thing, or if they, you were walking down the street and somebody noticed you. But if you come up to me with like a whole cardboard thing full of stuff to sign, probably not going to sign any of it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Hey, this is my likeness. and I'd just walk away with it." What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
If-
Nothing.
Yeah, if they're asked to explain it, then whoever he explains to probably going to take the other side. It's like, well, you were wrong.
This is mine. As you can plainly see, these are all me.
So another quote, I saw this one yesterday from Adam Page on his authentic house show signature. It says, if you ever buy one that doesn't have the hangman underneath, it's because someone harassed me in the hotel lobby and I give them the halfway house show signature. It's like, don't come in the hotel. Like, that's my front door. You know what I mean? Leave me alone. That's a good way to look at it. And they're in the hotel. That's literally where they're living at the time. So it's just, like I said, it's like, and it's not, like I said, it's not just wrestlers. It's just people on the whole. Just have some sense. Use your head. Don't be a mark. Don't be an idiot. And I usually don't call people marks just because I wouldn't sully a perfectly good name like that.
Oh, yeah, man. You know what? I am just salivating for Mark Redmond, salivating. April's going to be big for me to just call everybody Marks. So I'm just waiting. I'm holding on to my Mark coins.
All right, hang on. You're gonna have to smart me up. April.
Oh, April is supposedly when the revival or the what do they call themselves? Why can't I think?
FTR.
FTR.
FTR, like their contract is up
Oh,
and they're going to be leaving. But I'm imagining that's about the time that somebody recovering from a triceps injury would also be coming back.
you've been chomping at the bit for that one.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming because Punk has been out and about more.
Yeah, he was at
And-
the San Jose Saturday.
So he was San Jose.
And Dax has definitely been dropping some bombshells on his podcast, and most of them are like just kayfabe stuff, and people are just eating it up, and
Oh, yeah.
it's just awesome because as soon as it happens, all these people just it's gonna taste so good.
The internet may explode.
It's gonna taste so good because there will be all these people. Oh, I heard Punk didn't apologize. You know why? Because he didn't do
He
anything.
didn't do anything.
He never did anything. He got hurt, and they were smart
Yeah.
enough to turn it into an angle. Kenny, and my guess is Kenny Omega was still hurt.
He
and
looked like
wasn't
shit
quite
that week,
ready.
that whole
He looked
weekend.
horrible.
I think he needed that extra 6
I think
so
he
weeks
needed
off.
extra time, and they're like, "Oh, that's a good way to do it." Well, and I don't even know if Ace Steel ever actually worked for him.
I think
be
he
honest.
did. Though they said he worked backstage, but he just
And who knows if he actually got fired?
I don't know.
If I would just bring him back as a manager that just walked out.
I'll tell you what, he had better promo that one episode than most of the locker room.
Yeah, so it's just
Well, that's not hard to do in AEW, though, Mark. Come on,
This
let's
is
get
very, this is
serious.
very true. Very
it's
true.
gonna be Punk coming back, FTR joining him, and they're gonna take the 6-man titles from Bucks and Omega, and that's how
Dwayne
they're
has-
going to start their revenge tour.
Dwayne wants to know, will it be as big as it was when Punk first came back? It'll be different.
There'll be heat this time because
Yeah.
not only will people will be mad that they got played, and there will still be people mad because they think Punk is what everybody thinks Punk is.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great. You'll have a bunch of idiots and then a bunch of smart idiots.
Yeah, a lot of people. I hear both sides. Some people say Punk's a piece of crap. Some people say he's a normal, nice guy. And Lars Fredrickson likes him from Rancid, so that's good enough for me.
There you go.
I think he's probably like everybody else, especially like we all know enough independent wrestlers and enough wrestlers, enough people that have been in the business. There are phases to being a worker. Like everybody has their cocky phase, and then everybody has a humble phase. And everybody falls into it, even Randy Orton. Like these last few years, Orton has been a completely different dude. Like he wants to get people over. Like the way he works in the ring is different. You can tell.
He's having fun.
He wasn't always like that. But it took him a while. And from what I understand, Punk has been very accommodating in AEW. Bought people gifts a lot. Had advice for anybody that wanted it. I think when he was in WWE, he was miserable. And when you're miserable, and if you're already kind of miserable in general, that doesn't help anything. Like I've heard he could be abrasive when in his youth, but he was the big name. Like so, you know that comes with that kind of your ego gets bigger, and kind of what happens. Like Stone Cold is a much more laid back dude than he was when he was on his run. That you look at what happened there. He got so mad that he quit the business in the middle of like being super hot because
Took his ball and went home.
Took his ball and went home. Looking back, he says that was dumb, and that was dumb, but it was what he felt at the time. People change, but I think this is just a good opportunity for them to use what could have just been Punk got hurt, Omega's hurt, everybody's hurt. Now this is a big downer, and turn it into an actual angle that people have been talking about the entire time he's been gone.
Well, they're going to have to do something because AEW last week was abysmal, and I was looking forward to it, and I couldn't even make it through the full 2 hours. It's terrible right now. It is terrible.
Not great.
Yeah. They need to use some of the people they just, I don't know, for some reason aren't using. But, and some of the young guys, like, yeah, they're super, like, athletic and talented, but they're just not, like,
There we go.
it's all, like, lucha stuff. And then you have the 6-man tags now. That's all super lucha stuff for some reason. They can't just have tag matches. It's all just super fast paced stuff. You can't have an entire show of that. You're going to burn your Ross, you burn the people out.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they turned Paige heel. I think she was better off as a face.
I think Tony wants his NWO heat.
I guess. And you had Tony Storm and Britt. I don't think Britt works well as a face. And Jamie
She's
Hayter
okay.
is a better heel. That's just a better heel faction.
That's the problem. They have too many heels.
Yes.
Yeah.
They really have too many heels. They need baby
Minderz.
faces, but there's what? I know, right? I know.
I didn't think you had such a thing as too many heels.
Yes, there is such a thing as too many heels.
And now you have Eddie Kingston as a heel, and why?
Because the part that I love about heels is what they do to the baby faces. So they need somebody to work with.
This is true.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you need a strong, like Hangman Page isn't a face. John Moxley's not a face. There's some sort of weird in-between thing.
They're tweeners, like Tracy Smothers.
Yeah, but not as entertaining.
No.
The only thing I can see now, Dwayne, how long has it been since you've watched AEW? I'm real confused.
Britt Baker heel. Yeah,
she hasn't been healed she's a tweener.
She's tweening right now. I
Yeah.
think eventually she's gonna be a baby face. Ruby's in limbo, like they're trying to make her a heel, but they don't know what to do with her.
If they decide to actually take Ruby full face and strap her, Ruby's really good on pretty much every level.
Yeah.
Always has been. She can be anything you want her to be. She's tough. She's resilient. She certainly knows how to work. She can carry people through a match.
Yeah.
And Jamie Hayter's not horrible. Jamie Hayter's really good, but they're not doing anything with her. She's not even the head of her own group, and she's the heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
Right?
And I like Jamie, but yeah, it's just a weird dynamic.
Yeah,
it's tailor made for Britt to turn heel on her.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. That she was going to turn heel on Jamie, and because she got jealous of her holding the title. But if they're going to go the other way, she should have really been friends with her and helped her out and still been heels. As many things as Tony has done to bring the business back to a more kayfabe friendly, because you can even see in WWE they have moved online, like Seth Rollins is now kayfabing with Logan Paul.
Yeah.
And they're Ali is doing it with Ziggler.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not
Sammy and Roman.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good that he's done because that was gone. It was, we're not these people when we're outside the ring. You need to be.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to be part of how you get paid. It's okay, you're basically this person if you're in public. I'm sorry if you think this makes you look like a bad guy, but you're a bad guy. Mm-hmm. If you want more people to show up, we need you people to believe that you're this. And people want that, they want to star in TV shows. They want to have toys. They want to, have all this extra stuff. Part of the business is making people believe just long enough. It's already hard enough. Mm-hmm. We're grown people. We know it's, we know we know it's predetermined.
There you go. We don't use the F word on this show, Gerald.
It's predetermined, but when I was watching Roman and Sammy, I didn't think he was going to win, but I was enthralled in the match.
Yeah.
There was hope. They
there was
gave you
hope.
hope.
A lot of hope
What-
spots in that match.
There
Probably
was.
probably the best example I've ever had of thinking somebody actually might win was when Flair and Triple H went at it
Yes,
on
on Raw.
Yep.
I remember that.
I thought for more than a split second that they were going to strap Flair one more time,
Even for a week.
even for a week. Yeah, and that was a great match, and it was a Flair match, so it's the same Flair match that he'd been having for like 2 decades at that point.
Right.
And
But Triple H is
it
so
was
good.
but H was so good then, and he carried him through that match, and he gave you hope. Like Taka Michinoku versus Triple H.
Love
That was a good match because it was like, oh, wow, I love Taka, and Taka's actually getting a shot here. Is he actually going to win this? You have to have that glimmer of hope, but to have that glimmer of hope, you have to kind of remove yourself from reality
Mhm.
because you know that this is a business, and that. So the easy way to do that is to not let people really know too much what reality is.
Yeah.
The less reality people know and roundabout way, has the internet ruined wrestling? With kayfabe, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember wrestling forums and stuff when I was in my early 20s. You could find out some of the dirt, It was easier than calling the hotlines or like finding from some guy's cousin who knows some guy and who walked through Philly one time. But and it was fun for a while because you kind of got to peel back the curtain, but then you found out like, oh, well, this guy's like a jerk, or
Mm-hmm.
this person's going to lose, and then it takes the fun out of it if you know what's going to happen all the time.
Yeah,
Basically.
And when we go to watch wrestling shows at Marco's house, like we do WrestleMania, or whatever, and he would never just let it he'd always be saying, oh, that's fake, that doesn't happen, all that. That's I think Narc just said, Marco, shut the fuck up. just stop. And,
I mean,
it is hard. It's hard to watch wrestling with somebody that's not a wrestling fan.
yeah, especially a
is.
skeptic or a
Yeah.
cynic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
Why is he punching so much and he's not even bleeding?
well,
thank you, Captain Obvious.
Although, unless
I-
you're John Moxley, then you just go sit in the corner with your blade.
With your razor and go
Well,
like this.
I'm pretty sure like a stiff breeze busts him open now.
Oh yeah, he's one of those. If he sneezes, he's gonna be bleeding.
He's in Abbey territory now. Like he's
Flirting with
just
King Curtis territory.
Yeah, like Brian's bleeding all the time now too. I think he's hard weighing a little more, but it's
Yeah, it's
less is. I know it sounds less is more because the more you see something, the more people are going to want it, but the more you have to give, the less people care about it.
Mhm.
So ladder matches used to be like a once a year thing. Now you see them on regular TV.
Yep.
Now there's
Tom,
an
Dick, and Harry thinks they can climb a ladder.
entire pay-per-views that's all ladder matches, and man, is that boring.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
It's boring. And like cage matches
ladder
used to be special attraction matches. We just had a whole pay-per-view built. We've had whole pay-per-views now where it's just built around cage matches, and it's
Lockdown.
It's like, yeah. Well, it's a bigger cage. Well, okay. Is it still a cage? I bet somebody's gonna get slammed into it.
Yep, but they won't bleed.
No.
Yeah, they
no blood
won't.
in the cage. That's what bugs me. It's like, I mean, with a cage match, that should be the exception to the no blood rule. They can,
Yeah.
because, I mean, you go back, you couldn't swing a dead cat without finding a cage match where somebody was bleeding. Back in the old days,
like, if you get hit in the head with a foreign object, especially a chair or a bell or into the buckle, barbed wire, you need to gig.
Mhm.
It should always be. If you're going to do that spot, be ready to do that. because then at least it means something. It's like, oh, you got hit with a metal object in the forehead. That's gonna pop you open. Like, it's just. But like people who are just, I don't like you were saying, like, why does Moxley bleed all the time, man? Like he's just. I'm sure it's because he's just been gigging so much, but why are you gigging so much? Like you're a millionaire, dude. Like
It's like he's
it
making up
doesn't.
for lost time.
Oh, I think he is. He's just like, man, I just wanted to gig so much. Didn't get to gig at all. I'm just
But the
gonna
thing is,
gig all
Apparently,
the time.
apparently he
even
wasn't a GCW
diehard
long
AEW.
enough.
Well,
I'm pretty
apparently now it seems like
pretty sure Renee
it
just
seems like
hard ways him as she walks down the hallway.
yeah, yeah. It does seem like the fans are kind of getting like a little like over him bleeding all the time. It's like a lot of people are like they're over it now. It's like, oh, he's bleeding again. It's not special anymore, you know.
Well, yeah, because he does it all the time. Like,
Yeah, he does it in a technical match with Dante Martin.
yeah,
Still finds a way to bust himself open. And not a knock on Dante Martin, but Dwayne's
yeah.
asking, does Impact still do the lockdown pay-per-view? I don't think they do. Not that I don't think they do that anymore since they've
Man,
been
like
under new ownership. And
I still watch like Impact, but man, it is such a weird thing. Like, I don't know if you guys watch it,
I
but
do.
it feels like when I'm watching Impact, it feels like I'm stuck in like some weird like psychedelic limbo because like
Like
there's like 30 people in the crowd and there should be more because they're not bad workers. But then you have some pretty good storylines, like the whole like Bully Ray, like Bully Ray's great. Him and the Josh
yeah,
Alexander thing was good. Him and Tommy's been good. But
yeah,
then you have people like supposedly being killed, and you have
yeah.
like you have then you have people being sucked into hell dimensions, and you
Yeah,
have
I blame James Mitchell for that.
all this weird stuff that happens along with like these really good angles going on, and I don't. If they would just find one cohesive way to move, like,
Yeah,
and they have like guys like Swinger, who is hilarious, and
I love Swinger.
I love
Hey,
Swinger, and he just lost to Barry Horowitz
yep,
on,
friend of the show, Barry Horowitz got a win on Impact.
Barry.
Shout out to Barry. Uh,
but
but
it was funny, and it's great to have like one funny guy on your roster, but if you have like, I don't know what they're doing, but that's the thing with wrestling now. There's everybody wants everything, and you can't do that. You have to have a direction, and that's why they're not drawing more people, because it's not like the industry's down right now. It's actually doing well. I don't know how. It shouldn't be. Everything is doing horribly, and I I don't know if houses are up in AEW. I haven't really looked,
Well,
but
the ratings for AEW last week were junk.
yeah.
Junk.
Well, you've had Jade, who's what 50-0 now,
Yeah.
and she's got
Something more than that, I think.
she has
50.
your secondary title, and she's on
Yeah.
Fridays. That's
Right?
old man yelling at clouds. It's yeah, I don't understand that. But I mean, WWE's houses seem to be up. Their ratings
yeah,
seem to be up. The crowds are hot right now, and that's a lot to do with just a little bit of a fresh direction. It was all they needed.
hmm
And I think if AEW can hold on until April when they get people back and they get all these new storylines going, as long as they have a direction. Because right
yep.
now, yeah, man, like you got Jericho just doing Jericho stuff, which is great,
hmm
but it's just Jericho stuff at this point. Like,
Even MJF's
That was
getting
Jericho.
kind of stale, you know.
yeah, well, it's just MJF being when you have somebody being consistently great, even that gets boring
Hmm.
Yeah,
because it's just, well, he just delivered a devastatingly good promo again,
hmm
and he sells it on the outside of the ring, and he's a heel everywhere he goes. And I know he is too good of a heel to not be actually a decent dude. So that's what makes it great. But it's the same. It's weird because it's like I want to love MJF, but I'm bored because it's the same thing. It's just heel promo. It's great heel promo, but it's not anything different than anything else. So
I think it has a lot to do with MJF is that you don't have right now. He doesn't. I like Bryan Danielson, whatever. I've liked him forever, but this feud has not taken off. I don't think. I'm bored with it already.
Yeah, he's done the same thing to Danielson that he did to Punk. Didn't he have Punk do like the labors of MJF or whatever to get that match?
Yeah,
or
Jericho.
I
think he had Jericho do it.
Oh, Jericho. That's what it was. Yeah. Jericho had to go through all the hoops, and it's the same hoops.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Wardlow do it, I think.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of it is just that one, everybody's hurt. All the ones that you want to see, in my opinion, are hurt. And it's just
hot take.
Because right now there's not anybody on AEW that I even care about except for MJF.
It's a very short list for me. I will say this though, since MJF has been champion, the most entertaining he's been was with Ricky Starks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because MJF can cut that hot promo, but there's nobody really like going back and forth with him, like on the mic.
Right.
He hasn't had that since he was with Punk. But Ricky was able to stand toe to toe with him and give as good as he got. And there's not a lot of people. I think the only other person right now that's healthy that could do it, and I know he's a heel right now, but is Eddie Kingston. That feud would write itself, and it would make just great television.
Well, but when was the last time you saw Eddie on Dynamite?
He's Mr. Rampage right now. He's just doing the stuff with Ortiz. But
when Brian came, Brian first came in, he was a great heel. Should have stayed a heel. He's a great heel. He needed a heel. If you wanted to turn Moxley, I was all for turning Moxley heel, them just being like brutal heels. That would have been great because that's different. You know, smash mouth, ground and pound style is completely different than you see. I still love watching Bryan Danielson wrestle. He's probably, in one 40-year-old Italian's opinion, he's probably the best. He's probably the best all-around worker in the world right now. Like just skill wise. Like
I'm still waiting for that match with Sabre Jr.
Yeah, that would be great. But like he moves great. He does everything he's supposed to do. He can cut a promo, but he's not. He's just a guy that gets mad. He's
an angry goat.
He's an angry goat. And so there's no like character to it. I want just a little bit of something. But they need a slightly harder than soft reset, like a medium reset in AEW. And I know they let some people go, but man, like I wouldn't mind him just kind of cleaning house of his lower card. And if you're going to have a lower card, take your mid card guys, let them be your like if they're going to work a show, let all your mid card guys be on that show. You don't need a bunch of low card guys. Like you don't have enough TV time to fill. Like
I think that's where Ring of Honor is going to be a big asset.
Hopefully.
I think they'll take a lot of those guys and move them to Ring of Honor because it's not for lack of talent that these guys are toiling on the lower card on Dark or Elevation or whatever. It's just they don't have a spot for them. And I guess I'm a big fan of Sky Blue. Minderz, know you are too. She's a 0-1 girl.
I'm torn.
She's got a match with Saraya on Wednesday, but they don't do much with it. She's fodder for the most part. But if they put her in Ring of Honor, she could be a pretty good anchor for that women's division over there.
I liked her when I watched what's the promotion in Chicago? AAW. I watched their Twitch. They had a Twitch pay-per-view or Twitch show, and I saw Sky Blue on that, and she was really good. And I was like, this chick's really good. And of course, I asked Jim about her, and he's like, "Oh yeah, she's really cool." And he says she's still like fairly new to the business, and she's came a
She's
long
what,
way.
18?
No, that's
She's like 18
Billy.
or 19, right? Well, that's
I think
Billy
Sky's
Starks,
older
honestly.
than that. Billy Starks
Okay.
is, I think she's 18. Sky's,
Yeah.
I would say, Sky, I first saw, I think, in 2019.
Yeah, she's been
Would have been
3 or
around
4
that
years,
time.
I
Yeah.
think.
I mean,
But yeah,
Tony
I'm not
seems
sure
to
when
want to
she
do.
debuted.
Tony seems to want to do something with her because he does keep putting her on in tag matches, and she gets a good rub. And
Yeah.
I don't know what her mic skills are, or if maybe
They're
that.
iffy.
Uh,
They're
that
iffy.
I haven't heard a lot of her promo work, so I can't speak to that. But
They're
but
a little iffy.
if we're judging AEW people by mic skills, then that's half the roster. So
there's a
Exactly.
reason why a lot of them get managers.
It's a lot of the reason why a
Not-
lot of them need managers.
pretty soon, Stokely Hathaway is going to have 30 people.
Oh, Stokely.
He's just going to
I
have
do
a 30
I do
man
like
run.
Stokely. That'll
He's
be a
really
big pro.
good. He's really good at what he does, and the lawyer guy, he's really good. But like, I wouldn't mind those guys having like a big role on Dark or something, just so that they have somebody that people can go through. If you have Stokely, or if you had somebody that was a mouthpiece, and you stuck them with somebody who couldn't talk or was just getting there, and you put them around that person long enough, and you told them, learn from this guy, and then you move on. Like, you have to do that, and it doesn't seem
Yeah.
like that they're learning just enough. Because it used to be in the business, what, it'd be 7-10 years before you got off the indie circuit,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then you were just making like jobber shows. And now you got guys who are stepping a year, 2 years out of training.
Yeah.
And on TV. And so that's a big difference, because there's a lot of learning to do. There's another decade plus of learning that needs to be done just to get good. Not great, just good.
Good. Yeah, exactly.
There are a lot of guys in WWE that were like, you even look at like Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn now is much better than Billy Gunn in the Attitude Era. And he's like
Yes.
60. He just works better.
Plus he works harder.
He works harder. Like,
I know
Yeah.
I know Minderz. I know you got heat with Billy, but yeah, he's
heat with
he's built like
Billy.
a brick shit house.
He is. He is. But I got heat with Billy.
Ugh.
I ain't going
Hey.
into the story. It ain't happening.
No, we won't get into this. We won't go into the story. But yeah, the thing to remember with a lot of these young talent, like not everybody's going to be an MJF where they're just a natural
Mm-mm.
on the microphone. Like some of these guys, you can really tell when. And we talked about this a little bit. We talked about NXT 2.0 on the last episode. A lot of these guys are still so green that they're learning on the fly, as opposed to 20 years ago.
yeah. I
when
mean,
you got like a Punk and a Cabana and a Hero going all over the Indies and learning from everybody,
yeah,
and
I
they're not
kind of,
getting that chance now.
I've kind of made peace with the whole NXT thing, that they are learning, and there are some people coming out of it, but I just there's some there it's not as bad, but I think they have culled that herd a little bit in NXT since Triple H came back, and a lot of the super green talent is no longer there,
Yes,
or they're
or
not
they're
getting
back in the PC working more.
Yeah,
but
they're
on TV.
working, not off. Yeah,
Yeah.
not on TV.
or they're not
Well-
getting pushed as into like this. Like some of the girls they had out there looked like they had barely got out of training, and they were hurting each other.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
booting each other in the face.
But they've really solidified that women's division by cutting the fat, so to speak.
Mhm.
So the girls they got now are kicking ass every week.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not watching right now, obviously, but it's because the show starts in 5 minutes.
I would say it
We'll
hasn't
have to watch
started
that
yet,
later.
Mark.
Right. I mean, the royal
Right.
if that makes any sense.
I follow
But
you.
yeah, I got you. Dwayne made a comment. He said, "I guess I don't miss much on Impact." I'm going to say this about Impact, just to close that up. In ring, I think it's the best in ring product on TV right now. Like as far as like pure wrestling goes, because I think it's better. Like just for the talent they got the Machine Guns, they got Josh Alexander, they got Bully Tommy, Rich Swann is doing good work. Moose is always good, but yeah, the only thing that bugs me, and I watch every week. I watch it on the YouTube because I don't get access TV. But the only thing that bothers me is when they do the over the top, like dramatic stuff in the back, like whether it's when they shot Johnny Bravo or they stabbed Eric Young or they killed the bunny or they, like you mentioned, when James Mitchell drug Rosemary into Hades and all. It's too much. Come on.
Yeah.
That's when I miss like old TNA, like from like 2005, 2006.
Dude, TNA used to be really good.
Yeah.
Like it used to be super good. Like
Oh yeah.
back when Joe was just a little foot of a thing. he, he was half a Samoan
Yeah.
comparatively. Like it was crazy when you see those old matches.
Yeah.
But like AJ was good. All those guys were so good. And like when Christian was there,
Yeah.
he was right in the prime of his career. He was doing great work. The whole thing with him and AJ together, that was just beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad. Yeah, I just
To this day, the best three-way match I've ever seen is that AJ Daniels Joe match from '05.
that was really good.
It was first time the X Division belt ever main evented the pay-per-view. But there was
I was
that. Then
actually
there's
watching that today.
oh
That
yeah,
exact match. Yep.
small world.
Hmm.
And also I liked AJ and Daniels as a tag team back in I think it was '06 when they were the NWA tag champs. But I could talk about TNA for hours. We could do a whole episode on TNA if we wanted to, which we may eventually. But let's get kind of wow, we've spent like an hour talking about pretty much one topic for the most part, which I was kind of hoping for because that was a hot issue I wanted to get into.
We didn't even
But
talk about Sammy and Roman.
well, we're getting
Oh, we're
there.
gonna get there. I have a feeling.
No, we're getting into Elimination Chamber here. Minderz, I know you weren't sure if you were going to have time to watch it.
I
Did you get
did.
a chance?
I watched it. I got it watched.
Okay. All right. Opinions on the show. Well, first off, I'm going to say this: the there wasn't a bad match on the show, but I was a little
Yes, there
disappointed
was.
in that.
Sorry.
Does it rhyme with Schmuck Schmesner and Schmabby Schmesner?
Yes, it does. And I like house fights.
Yeah, but the women's chamber match I thought was too quick, like too fast. Like they rushed it, I thought.
I can't.
For what it was, it didn't bother me. I
I
mean,
thought
you knew you had the men's coming up later.
Asuka was the easy pick to win. I think she was
Well,
the no-brainer.
Dude, watching Asuka right now is she's like painting a masterpiece to me anyway. Like I was a big Kana fan, but everything she's doing right now is little stuff. Like the way she moves, even when she's like not in full Kana mode, it's just a little bit different. I mean, it's kind of Muda-esque, kind of Chijiri a little bit, but not quite. It's kind of twitchy, but like the whole like the segment with her and Bianca Belair on Raw, where she's just in the ring and Bianca's being Bianca, and then she just like starts coughing up like blue
mist,
and like the look, like I give Bianca full credit, like the look on her face was priceless. Like it was sold because it wasn't like she wasn't shocked. She was just like, I have no idea what's going on.
Right.
And I've never seen her flustered. And it was a flustered look. But but Asuka right now, like everything she's doing and the way she's moving in the ring reminds me nothing of her from even the last like 3 years.
Yeah.
Like everything she's doing right now is so deliberate, has so much snap on it, everything. And
What do you think of the new submission hold where
I mean, it's
the shoulderer?
I've always been a fan of the Rings of Saturn because if you're if you're going to put somebody in submission hold, make sure they're not getting out of it.
Right.
Like I don't want you crawling to the ropes. And the Rings of Saturn, it was real hard to get anywhere in that because you didn't have arms.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the new Oscar lock, I've never been a fan of, and I know it's sacrilegious because it's wrestling royalties finishers of Cobra clutches or crossface chicken wings, because while I know they are actually effective in real life, they hardly ever look good.
Yeah.
And like same thing with sleeper holds. Like sleepers, I know they're effective. I've been put out by a sleeper. I've been put out by a camel clutch. I know they work, but like they're just kind of boring.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do a submission hold, I want it to look like something. And at least Asuka's new one, like definitely, it looks like it's painful, at least. And I know that's why Rousey, I think she changed her arm bar to like twisting the elbow.
Yeah.
But in reality, that makes it hurt less.
Yeah.
Because the way
they
she's
probably told her
twisting
to
the
because they're
elbow
afraid
in.
that she's gonna be too stiff in the ring.
Yeah, you
Hey,
don't
I'll
want
tell you
to.
what, she sold that DDT on the apron like a friggin' champ on Friday.
Oh,
though.
I liked it.
That's a little that's a little steep, Dwayne.
Little Steve.
Yeah. Like I said, I like Asuka, but come on, I Muda's Muda. So last match today, Muda lost to Naito in his farewell match today.
I
Yep.
thought
Saw
his
that.
farewell match was a 6-man, but
That was his last match as the Great Muda.
oh,
This was his last match as Keiji Muto.
oh, okay.
He had like 6 last matches. He had the last match at the Tokyo Dome, his last match as the Great Muda, his last match for Noah, his last match for New Japan, his last match with.
So was this his last match?
He's done after this. This is his last match. And he even had Chono tap him out after the match.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Like he called Chono in the ring and Chono put him in the STF and he tapped out.
Oh,
Just
I did see that.
I love Chono.
Oh, the Muda.
As much as I love Muda, out of all those not original, but that New Japan guy, New Japan group from when I started watching, Chono was my favorite. Especially NWO Chono. But Kobashi's still the best. Dwayne says we got ripped off with Brock and Bobby. I don't agree with that. I do think that there's more business to be done there.
I don't want
there to be any more business.
The only way I want there to be more business is if they have them in the fight pit. That's all I want. I don't want another regular match with those two.
I wanted Lesnar versus Gunther at Mania. At least that would have been something. You're probably going to get. I don't know why you're going to get Bray Wyatt versus Bobby Lashley at Mania, but that seems to be the way we're going because that's what we're doing, I guess.
Yeah, they kind of they threw a real surprise at just having Omos challenge Lesnar.
Sorry, Omos, my bad.
Yeah,
you're good. Which I kind of get why they're going that direction, just because for the sheer attraction aspect of it. It's like the oldest trick in Vince's playbook. Just put the Giant in the ring with the big strong guy, see if he can.
But they've already had everybody beat the Giant like 9 times. They've big showed him. They've just
not everybody.
I think pretty much.
Really?
A lot of people.
I don't know about that. But he's still a big motherfucker, and it's not. And I think the attraction is if Brock and nobody hits their finish on him. That's the thing, except for Strowman, maybe.
Lesnar will come in and they'll look at each other, and then he'll pick him up and F5 him, and then it'll be over. And then
probably, but that's all you need out of Brock. All you want from Brock is a 5-minute match.
Lesnar has stuff to do, I guess, like tanning meat.
It's almost hunting season up in Canada, you know.
So
yeah, that match It didn't even hold my interest.
Nah, I kind of spaced out for that one too, but that was really the only real downer on the show.
I know that if it was Dakota Kai wasn't hurt, that was supposed to be Lita and Trish Stratus versus Dakota Kai and Io Sky at Elimination Chamber.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, but Dakota Kai's been hurt.
Yeah,
I know they're supposed to go up against like
it's Becky and
Baszler
Lita.
Becky and Lita.
But I thought it was supposed to be Baszler and Rousey at Mania.
I think that's Mania. I think they're doing Becky and Lita like next week or the week after.
Yeah.
So I think they're probably going to do some sort of a multi-team fiasco tag match at Mania.
I
Probably.
thought Chamber was better than it should have been in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
There was
I'd agree with that.
There were some. The men's match had some pretty crazy spots. I saw
Montez
Narjan,
Ford.
I saw Narjan here, and talking about Montez Ford. Montez Ford
Let me find the
became a made man at
Yeah.
Elimination Chamber. That dude was everything he did was correct. And then when he sold when he had to sell, at the end. So not Jake or
Logan
Paul, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're the same dude.
Narge, I'm taking the under on this one, buddy. You say 3 years or less. I'm going to say less than 3.
Yeah, he needs a title here soon, and
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
why
why they haven't been tag champs.
He needs to get rid of Dawkins.
So
I think Dawkins is bad for him, but
I don't like Dawkins.
I think they need to split off. I think Dawkins needs to do his own thing, and Montez needs to do his thing, but he needs a belt, and he needs a run.
Yeah. On Busted Open yesterday, they were talking about Montez and how they need to split up the team. Bully had the idea where they should have Dawkins be the one to turn on Tez, just so he's got something to work with, so he's not just Genetti'd outright by Montez.
Yeah.
Kind of like how JC wiped out Gigi, because you would have thought it'd be the other way around.
You know what? It's going to. This is going to sound like Vince booking, because it's, hey, black guy, insert other black guys here. But I think it would work. Business? No, Dawkins with Top Dollar and.
Oh, geez, no.
But
Dawkins can't rap.
No, but you have him come in and say, none of this stuff you're doing is working. And you retool that faction.
Well,
teach Top Dollar how to do a dive.
Well, teach them how to do something.
Michael Cole is making fun of them.
They're burying Top Dollar on that show.
Top Dollar is done.
But if you want to save him at all, that's the way to do it. You bring him in, and then he retools the entire faction.
So he's the new Swerve. Because he'd be the new Swerve.
He does have more charisma than the rest of the team.
Well, he's got a pedigree at least. Well, he's won championships. He's been a top tag champion. Those other 3 have done nothing. Literally.
Except for rapping poorly.
Yes.
And try to kill themselves.
Yeah. BFAB is still green as goose shit, so she has no function aside of just running her mouth. So
yeah. I always feel bad, because I was actually back in the day a big Marty Jannetty fan. Because to me, like, when they were a team, Jannetty was the superior talent.
Yeah.
Michaels
had the pretty hair.
Marty Jannetty was a better worker. I don't care who wants to come after me. Jannetty was a superior worker to Shawn Michaels. But, man, Michaels was pretty. So.
He was a very pretty man back in.
But, well, I mean,
with the feathered hair and
the mullet, it was great.
Shawn Michaels.
He had the best mullet in wrestling for a long time.
To me, Shawn Michaels didn't become great until he came back.
I would agree with that.
He was fantastic after he came back.
Because he learned.
He learned how to. He learned. He also knew he couldn't do everything he used to do. He slowed down a little bit. He also didn't go about every day trying to upset somebody.
Yes. A little too heavy on the chops. A little bit.
A little bit.
But yeah, he was definitely working a lot smarter. and the matches were better. I mean, yeah, he had like good matches with Razor and with Marty at the Rumble and all that, but as far as like 5-star matches, he didn't have a lot of them in his first run.
Yeah.
I mean, he was always got credit for being hella athletic and taking good bumps and all that stuff, but that's why he got a broken back.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, but
But-
Montez Ford probably like besides me now having more respect for Roman just as a not a worker, but ability to work the crowd. Like he did great.
he was masterful on Saturday.
Just the way he was talking to Sammy's family, way
Yeah.
he was mumbling to himself, the way he was just pacing around, the way they slowed it down. They slowed it down and allowed it to eat. And it was great. But Montez Ford's probably, to me, was the shining star of like the whole thing. He was just
I agree with that.
he just did everything right.
And
So, I got a question for you guys.
shoot.
One of the things, I've got my boys, and we have our own
Yeah.
little chat. So we were talking about it, and one of my friends seems to think that he thought since Beth and Edge won, that it made Rhea look weak. Now, I, on the other hand, I don't think it made her look weak. She didn't eat the pin. So
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
with
she
you.
still looks. I think she still looks strong. I mean, I see where he was coming from because she took the Glamazon out on, or Rhea took the Glamazon out on the mat or on the side.
That was
I
Dominic's
get that.
fault.
Yeah, it's always Dominic's fault. But I didn't think it made Rhea look weak.
Well, considering like they were just beating the mess out of each other in the ring, like those. I mean, right at first there was a little bit of rust, but like then they started just clotheslining each other.
Yeah.
And it did remind me because man, I love the Bull Nakano.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Face paint. And but then they started just clotheslining each other. I was like, oh yes. yes. Joshi.
Well, and that's kind of setting up. If Beth wants another run, there you go. Go after Rhea.
Yeah. I'm almost thinking I don't think they're going to do it, and I don't know why they wouldn't right now because it would be a hot match that they make it Charlotte versus Beth versus Rhea in a 3-way. Just because Finn is still coming after Edge. And
they got something coming.
I could see
I think we're getting a demon.
I think
Hell in a Cell too, I think is what they're saying.
I'm thinking Rhea is she's still in Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So she's still gonna be running her mouth. I think Beth's gonna say something about it, and I think it would make sense to get her inserted. And she doesn't it would be not she was so good.
Mm-hmm.
And she used to get 3 minutes to be so good.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. Like, and she can still work. I know she's probably not got like a ton of matches left, but
her bump card's filling up a little bit.
Her bump card's probably filling up, but man, give her a few months just with the title. You could have Rhea beat her.
Yeah.
And beat her clean. And then, you could have her beat her dirty. Doesn't matter, but I would have her beat her clean.
Yeah.
And then then Rhea can make her way out of Judgment Day.
Right.
And be on her own and be her own entity. She's
I think that's
starting now.
I think that's why they had her go after the SmackDown belt to kind of separate her a little bit. But what I would do is I would keep it 1-on-1, Rhea and Charlotte. I have Rhea win, and then I have Rhea do the loop with Beth in singles.
Well, if Beth
we never gotten that 1-on-1 match with those two.
See, if Beth was willing to do a few, I would have it, be a few pay-per-views, Beth taking and then finally winning the one, and then have her doing a little bit of a run, and then you could drop it back to Rhea.
Yeah.
Or you could drop it to somebody else.
Yeah.
But it's more, I rarely say somebody deserves something, but I think Beth deserves and that's not like she's bad.
No.
She's Beth Phoenix. She's still really good. It's not
She's
like
better than
she's
most
a
of the
bad
girls on
J.
the roster.
She can
Yeah.
talk. She can talk better. She can move better.
She looks better.
She looks better. Like, so just yeah.
But what
And
do you
she
do
would
with
be
Charlotte then?
I don't care.
Charlotte's Teflon. Charlotte is bulletproof. She can do whatever she wants, and
You
she'll
could
be
have
fine.
her. You could have her and Rhea feud.
Hell, put her back on Raw.
Put her on Raw. I don't. Yeah. You could have her
I don't
do.
know.
I think this is what we came to like last time. That we're. Oh, well, at least I did. Like, their trouble is right now. They don't have any idea what to do with you in the women's division if you're not going for a title.
Yeah.
No.
You become invisible. Like,
Yep.
what happened to Aaliyah? I think she was kind of Vince's girl, but she's gone now.
Yeah, she just disappeared.
She's just disappeared. You have a bunch of girls that just aren't doing anything. And why is Natalia not doing? Natalia's not bad. She's never been a bad worker. She's never had a bad match. It's ridiculous that she gets nothing. But she doesn't even get a good storyline. She doesn't get anything. Like, she had the titles with
Baszler?
No, it was Tamina.
Tamina.
Yeah.
And that was a good run. People are always over for Natty, but they don't do anything. You have a 3-hour Raw, and you can't figure out what to do with.
Well, Natty's on SmackDown.
Yeah, but I mean, any of the women, you see them like one or two things, and that's it. You see like a ding dong hello or whatever, and Bailey's too good to be used.
Yeah.
As a mouthpiece.
Although I was digging the music at the start of Ding Dong Hello.
Yeah. But
of course you were.
It sounds like they might be pushing for Lita and Becky at Mania.
Maybe.
But I don't think she's hurt. It's just I think they just.
Well, it might be Bailey and Lita at this point.
Becky and Lita. Right?
You think Becky and Lita again?
No. It's going to be Bailey and Lita at Mania.
Oh, 1-on-1?
I think
probably.
So. Oh. That or they've also thrown around the idea of a 6-man with Damage Control against Becky, Lita, and Trish, which I'd be fine with.
Yeah, that would be better. That would be because Lita was always sloppy.
Yes.
She's gonna kill herself.
Yeah. I guess Trish was in the building in I think either the pay-per-view or yesterday. She was there, but they didn't have a segment for her.
Yeah.
Like
it would be good.
Things.
It would be
they didn't have
that way.
I think they had an idea, but they cut it.
No.
I think
it's like it was just Ding Dong Hello. It could have been on there.
Yeah, they could. But I think also it doesn't help that Dakota's still hurt. If Dakota was up and about, then I think they would have done it. But again, I'm not one to nitpick.
Well, here's the bad thing though. I was trying to remember what all was on Elimination Chamber besides Sammy, Roman, and the Chambers.
There are only 5 matches.
There's only 5 matches.
Yeah,
it was Edge and Beth versus Finn and Rhea, and then
2 Chambers, Brock and Bobby and Roman and Sammy.
Yeah,
that was it.
So it wasn't. Roman and Sammy was everything it should have been.
Yeah.
I knew how the interaction was going to go on Monday between Sammy and Owens, and it's how it should go.
Slow burn.
It is a weird. I figured though they would just have Jay just go completely heel and completely turn on Sammy there.
Oh, they gotta let it percolate.
But I don't. It's this kind of weird. I don't know. They only have so many weeks to let it percolate.
They got 5 weeks.
It's nice to know though that the Usos can travel out of the country though.
Well, that is good to know.
I began to wonder. Yeah.
I was genuinely surprised that they were both there. I thought Jay would be there, but I didn't think Jimmy was going to be able to get in.
Yeah.
Old Jimbo. He's got stuff.
So sounds like WrestleMania is starting to shape up a little bit. I mean, we're going to get Cody and Roman, obviously. Sounds like Seth and Logan Paul. For some damn reason, Brock and Omos, but it is what it is.
Well, you
And
have
Bobby and
you have
freaking-
8 to 10 hours of show to fill up.
It's true.
So
This is true. This is true.
there's probably going to be like a snow cone vendor versus a hot dog vendor at some point.
That's the pre-show.
That's the free.
But there's always going to be they're going to have some god awful musical performance on that show. They'll have the Hall of Fame guys come out.
That's true.
But I'm still waiting to hear, and I guess Dom's going to be at SmackDown because Rhea's going to confront Charlotte. I think that's where they start to build for him and Ray at
Mhm.
Mania. And I'm still saying it. I want a mask versus hair match. It's lucha tradition. That's how you end a blood feud in lucha libre. And I want to see Dom win and Ray lose the mask. Just because, damn it, it's been 20 years. He should not have had that mask on in the first place.
I want to see
Although
Dom
I
still
think-
ask.
I think my wife would like to see Dom shed his glorious mullet, though.
I still want Dom to say that Ray's not his father, but
Yeah, I'm surprised
I'm
they never
still
went
holding
that
out
route.
for it. I'm still holding out for it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if well, I think Vicky's still probably with AEW, but man, that
She
was,
is.
Yeah, he is.
That'd be good.
if
There's
they
a
could-
couple of instances
if they
where
threw
AEW talent
they-
coming over would work.
if they threw Tony enough money, man, that would be so good to just have Vicky Guerrero come out and just be like, Ray, you don't need to be upset about Dom. We both know whose kid he really is. And
That
then
would
she
be
could
great.
just cradle his head and says, I'm your stepmommy.
That sounds creepy when you say
That
it.
sounds real creepy.
Well, it would be more shrill, but just as creepy
Yeah.
if it was Vicky.
True.
Speaking of AEW guys, that would be great that they could bring over for Mania season. I would love it if they could figure out a way to bring Dustin in on this Cody Roman feud.
Yeah.
Because
Well, when's his
Dustin's,
contract up?
I'm not sure, but I think Dustin's kayfabing with Heyman on Twitter.
Oh,
Well, the forbidden door is the forbidden door.
That's
So,
true. And I know Tony said, and Triple H, I think they both said they're willing to work together. But then there was this whole contract tampering story that broke a few weeks ago, so I don't know where that stands right now.
Yeah.
Get Arrow Hawani on it.
Kayfabe, brother. Kayfabe.
Kayfabe.
Protect the business.
protect it.
All right.
But that
So
would be good, like, because that was the other thing I was gonna say. Cody and Heyman, like the way they're bouncing off each other, good stuff.
Very good.
Mhm.
Awesome.
And the way Cody ended that with "Don't send him
again. Yeah.
Don't send that man again." I want Heyman to come out, and when people give him stunners and stuff, I want there to be a cowbell and a bull rope involved,
In public.
and I want Heyman to get color, and that's how I want, like, the big, like, because then you take that away from Roman, you take that wise man, that mouthpiece,
Right.
and maybe you get him back right before Mania, but you have him be gun shy.
Yeah.
But I want it to just be Cody comes completely unglued, and of course Roman's not there. He's never there. Why
No.
is he there? Why would he be there? He's only the double champion.
Contracts, baby.
Don't hate the play. I hate the
You
game.
got that sweet contract. Yes.
But
And
yeah,
also,
like,
I did
that's
enjoy
what I
Heyman
want.
with the neck brace, though.
yeah, but I just want Cody to absolutely come unglued on him.
Yeah.
And just not stop. And I would love it if people started to come out to try to pull him off, and then you had like Owens and Zayn just beating people so Cody could just keep beating on Heyman.
Right.
That would be my, like, dream scenario, because for years it's just been like Heyman running his mouth, and every once in a while he'll take a punch or a stunner. But there needs to be a statement sent, and a real chink in the armor would be Heyman just being gone, and then Roman having to do dirty work, and then of course Jay is kind of MIA, and then you could just have Owens and Zayn say they're going to go after the tag titles, and at the end of that match, you could have Jay just walk out on Jimmy, or you could have him just not follow through the next night with Roman, and then of course Heyman's like, on crutches or whatever. And to me, that's how you do it, because otherwise it's just kind of like you've built Roman up so much that there has to be something. You can't just have it be like, oh, well, Cody's just tough enough. Well, you had all these other dudes like that were pretty tough. And then Cody was just, you can't just say Cody was just better than everybody else. So there needs to be a reason. And if his family's in disarray, but I don't want to see Roman with a cold, let alone a title, for a long time after this. Like, I think he needs a cool off period.
No, I'd agree with that. The scenario you just laid out, Gary, that screams Mid-South wrestling to me.
Should
think back to when Bill Watts would beat the crap out of like Eddie Gilbert, and then when Hot Stuff International comes down, then you got like Doc and DiBiase and Duggan out there fighting them off. To this day, the greatest call I ever heard Jim Ross make wasn't in WWF. It wasn't Mick Foley off the cell. It was when the Russians and Eddie Gilbert whacked Bill Watts in the face with a shovel and covered him with the Russian flag. In 1985, in Oklahoma.
Was it the Canadian Russians covering them with Russian flag?
It was Ivan, Nikita, and Korolenko, who was like the Mid-South Russian guy.
Yeah. So one Canadian and one Mid-South
and one Minnesotan. And one Minnesotan.
And one Minnesotan.
Yeah, this was after Crusher Darshow was gone and Volkov was gone.
Yeah.
But no, that was, I may have to post a link to that. Just Jim Ross was losing it. Michael Hayes was on color, just stirring the pot.
Now most of the guys that they say are from like Punjab, India, or from like
Canada,
Toronto.
Yeah. Well, there is a big Indian population in Canada.
Yeah, but I mean, Canada's still.
Kali, I'm sorry, Veer, I think, and Sangha are the only like authentic like native Indian wrestlers on the roster right now. Yep, also great pitchers. Well, Veer was.
$1 Million Arms.
That's right. I think that's what they call his lariat now, because he throws it with his left arm. They call it the $1 Million Arm, which they should have done from the beginning.
Yeah.
Bring John Hamm out.
That's one that never really did anything that they built up really big.
Veer, I think he's in the best spot he can be in. Putting him back with Sangha again, because they were a tag team before they got signed. And they're a really good team. They look alike. They work alike. And I'm just waiting for them to get to the tag belts off of Gallus.
Well, yeah, but how long did they push Veer coming to Raw?
Well, that was Vince, though.
That was Vince.
Terrible.
Well, that was Vince.
Vince doing Vince things.
Well,
I know.
It's unfortunate that every promotion at some point, and it's horrible when you think about it, but it's also wrestling. So of course it's horrible.
Right.
That there's always like, we need an Indian guy. Why do you? Because there's a big market.
Right.
There's a big Indian market, and
there's a market now to bring back the Russian heel.
Yeah. TNA TNA was constantly going after India, and now you got Jeff Jarrett, and so of course he's aligned with the big,
right?
Sanjay
Dutt,
Sanjay, and then the big Indian basketball player guy,
the guy you could sit in his ears.
Yeah,
those ears are huge.
But it's unfortunate because that's why they every once in a while they push them, and then you see it correlate with when they're about to do a tour or they're about to have a TV deal, and it's horrible because there are good talent. Sanjay Dutt was some incredible.
Yes, very good.
How
Yeah.
Sean was it Sean Chacon?
Davari.
Sean Davari, really good.
Yeah.
Like there's been a lot of, but man, if it's not just one stereotype, it's you're an Arab. You're a guy who wears a turban.
They can't all be the Iron Sheik, my friend.
You can't all be the Iron Sheik. No.
Oh, Sheiky.
I still wish he would have followed through and run for mayor of Toronto against Rob Ford. Just for the debates alone, you got a coked up Toronto guy and then the Iron Sheik in a debate.
I can't speak English. Yeah.
He can, but it's very broken and very entertaining.
Yes.
It would just be a bunch of cussing out Hulk Hogan.
call him a jabroni.
Just make.
I still love
just
that,
talking about making the other mayor humble. Just like, break your back and make you humble.
I love that for a good 30 years, all he would talk about was breaking B. Brian Blair's back and making him humble. And then finally, he realized he was meant to be talking about Jim Brunzell the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
Sheiky.
It's the masks. They had the masks on. You can't tell.
Good.
Who
You're the killer bees.
Who hasn't made that mistake?
That's very true. All right. So I think it's time to move on. Real quick, I want to say a couple things about the New Japan show. We won't get too much into it. I know you guys didn't watch. Jay White lost to Kingston, which means he is done with New Japan, and we don't know where he's going. He might be going to AEW, maybe going to WWE. So we're waiting to see what happens with that. And Mercedes, number one on the build-up video before her match, they cut out her promo. They didn't
I wonder why.
They didn't show her hitting her finish on Kyrie because it looked like they cut all the bad stuff out of there. So they made her look like $1 million. Her music is awful. It's
yeah.
I want to throw up. The entrance was a little over the top. The match was really good with those two. She hit the finish properly when she got the pin. Kyrie looked awesome. Sasha, I'm still calling her Sasha. Mercedes was good. Sounds like she might be angling to team up with Okada in Mexico, maybe in a mixed tag team division. And then Okada and Tanahashi for the millionth time in the main event for the title. I think they were saying it might be Tana's last shot at Okada, but after that, then Okada wants to form a tag team with Tanahashi, go after the tag titles. So I think that's coming up. They're going to go after Goto and Yoshihashi in Japan.
Oh my god!
Because why not?
Just give Tanahashi like the U.S. or the never open weight.
He had both of them in the last year.
Yeah, just do it again. Might as well.
I think they want to get Okada the tag belts once in his lifetime.
Oh, why not? I am so.
Yeah.
Oh, Okada is the Roman Reigns of New Japan.
I appreciate his talent. I am not a fan of Okada.
I get it. He's like super handsome.
He's pretty.
Super athletic. But man, there are guys like
make it rain.
Like Naito is so much better all the way around. Like so good. And then you got guys. You got Shibata. You got Shingo.
Shibata's kind of off the. He's just training guys now in the dojo.
Well, he works matches again, right?
Every now and then, but not full time.
Okay, I thought he was kind of back.
Kind of, but he's not wrestling a full schedule. Kenta's still there. They've got an embarrassment of riches as far as talent over there.
Well, you got the guys from the Bullet Club that are still there. I don't know who's left, but
well, the Tongans are out. They're still there, but they're not in Bullet Club anymore. They still got Fale, still got Chase Owens, Evil, Kenta, Juice Robinson. So, I mean, it's not exactly the force that they once were.
Yeah,
but I still like the Bullet Club. But I'll tell you who I would put the IWGP belt on if it's not Shingo, who was my usual pick. I put it on Archer. Let's let him just run through everybody for a good year.
There hasn't been a good Scott Norton-esque run in a while.
No. Suzuki's a babyface now. Did you know that?
What?
They disbanded Suzuki Gun after Wrestle Kingdom, and now he, Desperado, and fucking what's his name? Red Shoes' son. Uh, not Umino, but the other young boy, or the six-man tag champs right now.
Baby shoes.
Well, technically he's Black Shoes. He wears black boots, but
Sorry,
All
I can't
right.
help you on this one, Mark. I don't
no,
watch much.
it'll come to me, and I'll kick myself for
How
not
do you
remembering.
turn Suzuki? How is he? He should always be a heel
I know he's a natural.
because he's evil.
Yeah, he's my favorite guy in New Japan.
He's basically like Voldemort.
He's a final boss.
Yeah, he's just
He's Tatanga for all you Super Mario Land fans.
Yeah.
On the Game Boy.
There you
My
go.
brother will pop. My brother will pop when he hears that one.
Yeah, I will.
All right, so I kind of got my thoughts out on New Japan. Let's move on because I'm actually really proud of myself. I may have gotten a little carried away with the production value of this show, Gary, because
Uh-oh.
so you know what it's time for. Too much?
Something new.
I'm really proud of myself for that one. But yes, it is time for the JTR Hall of Fame.
I'm perpetually glad that Stacy loves you so much.
You know what? She is a saint. She puts up with me.
Every day I just, as I say my prayers in the morning, I say, thank you, Lord, that Mark found Stacy, and she puts up with him every single day.
You don't know the half of it. All right. So, jumping the Red Hall of Fame as usual, and I don't know if Narge is still in the thread here, but he will not be happy with me.
Uh-oh, you're in big trouble, huh?
I'm going to be in big trouble because our inductee is not Hulk Hogan.
Oh, darn.
For the record,
we don't induct cheaters.
Well, he is a heel. I'll induct Hollywood. I don't know if I'll induct Hulk.
Yeah, not Hulk.
But no, our inductee is Hulk Hogan's Mega Powers tag team partner, the Macho Man.
I thought you would. You didn't. So you
I'm
didn't. Put
surprised.
I'm surprised you didn't put the Poffos in.
Oh, Lanny wasn't around to request it.
Well,
Yeah, no,
that's why I'm surprised you didn't throw him in there.
No, I think Lanny deserves a solo induction at some point. Maybe he'll have. I'll compose a poem for the occasion, even.
Oh,
but
boy.
he was never solo in any promotion he was ever in, Mark. If Randy wasn't there, he was.
It was Angelo. If it wasn't Randy, it was Angelo, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not one to talk shit about. It's bad luck to talk about the dead, and I love Lanny, but Randy was just. He was. I tell Stacy, Randy reminds me of if a Muppet was a pro wrestler, because he had that vibe to him with the voice and the mannerisms, the outrageous attire.
Every once in a while, I go back and I just watch Randy's promos, and you always get to the cream of the crop, and there's nobody else. I mean, it should be silly. He's got little tiny creams that he's just pulling out of nowhere.
He's pulling, his little bandana wristbands, or his
putting
bandana
them on his head, but he's still intimidating while doing it. And for some reason, it still works. And then the one where he just got done, I think he's just got done wrestling, I want to say Flair, and he got Mark's gone.
I'm still there.
He's still here. He just lost his video.
And I think Perfect and somebody else jumped Macho Man, and he's like hobbling, and he's got a. Yeah.
You look good, Mark. You look good.
And he's got Elizabeth with him, and he gets so mad at one point that he just tells Elizabeth she's got to go. He like kicks Elizabeth out. He's like, "Get on out of here!" He's just so mad. Like he has no like composure left at all. Some of his promos, even the most wild ones, still weren't as bad as like Warriors. So like, but some of them got pretty crazy. But man, Mach was one of a kind. There has never been anybody remotely, even Jay Lethal impersonating him, isn't anywhere near what Macho Man. Like Macho's punches are still probably my favorite wrestling punches of all time. Like they just look so good. It looked like he was knocking people out every time he hit them, and which is crazy.
Point at you first, and then
yeah, like the guy who used to own Windy City Pro, was friends with him, and they both punched the same way. And so my buddy Josh like learned how to punch like that. Oh, it's awesome. It just looks so good. But yeah, he's one of my favorite workers of all time. I know he had some, of course you're a wrestler. So at this point, I just assume as a pro wrestler, you have demons, because you kind of got to have something.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a normal person and want to be a professional wrestler. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, it's a career that's just not conducive to being normal. So,
although, Gary, don't forget, he played baseball in the Cardinals organization too.
Yeah. He was good. Well, he had a really strong arm.
Yeah,
but he couldn't. He wasn't hitting well.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be the guy rounding third base coming into the plate with him catching.
No. Give you the dusty elbow on the way in. But yeah,
Minderz, what do you think? Thursday, so the bandana and the sunglasses.
Do it. Did you? Oh, and you need to have your Dallas shirt.
I got it delivered this week.
Yeah.
The Dallas is my buddy shirt on.
That'll be perfect.
All right. Because the glare is kind of affecting me, I'm going to slide these off.
No, this is a good one. Macho was always one of my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I liked him more in WCW when he was just deflating people's lungs and pile driving everybody. Because he just didn't care, and you could tell.
You're talking NWO Savage?
Somewhere between NWO Savage and
Flair Drove Him Insane Savage?
Had a bunch of random women Savage.
Oh, Team Madness. Medusa, Molly Holly, and Gorgeous George.
Yeah, when he was just trying to kill Charles Robinson every week.
When he'd wear his Kangol hat and his Oakleys and the shimmery shirt.
When Little Nate was just shaking in his boots every single week.
Little Nate.
Little Nate.
That was marvelous.
I fell in love with Randy when he had his Jake Roberts, Randy Savage run in WWE or F or whatever you call it. Because that was when the Cobra, the Cobra angle.
I know you like the Cobra.
I did not those type of Cobras, but
yeah, that was.
I think that's part of the reason I'm terrified of snakes to this day. I'm not going to lie. The most dangerous man on the face of the planet.
Well, I mean, there's always Mania 3 too with him and Steamboat.
Yeah,
so good.
And that match was just, it's still, I mean, people talk about it to this day, but it's probably still one of the more underrated matches. It's just solid all the way through. And
except for the finish. I hated the finish.
With George?
With George throwing him off the top rope.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Yeah. Old man sweater steel there trying to.
I love George.
I do. I love George Animal Steel. Come on.
I love
Ricky
George.
Steamboat didn't need the assist. You know?
But like, man, he's also one of the more criminally abused wrestlers. Just never had the title long enough. Never got a real run. Like, couldn't. And it was always Hogan. That was drove me nuts. Drove me nuts.
I got a feeling he knew. But on that subject, though, did you prefer Randy with Elizabeth or with Sherry? I say
Elizabeth.
Sherry. I
I
say
was
Sherry.
Elizabeth.
I never understood Elizabeth because she never did anything.
No, she was a liability.
But
I bought into the whole love story. I'm a girl. Give me a break.
Sherry, those nuts.
Yes, she was. That's when she was scary, Sherry.
Scary Sherry, yep. And taking all the crazy bumps probably prolonged Savage's career because she took some of the
Probably.
crazy bumps that Savage wouldn't take.
what was
But
oh, never mind. That wasn't with Savage. I was thinking of the match. It was Rick Martel and Shawn Michaels. And
when they couldn't punch each other in the face.
yeah, couldn't punch each other in the face.
Classic. To this day, maybe my favorite SummerSlam match. Just because it's so ridiculous.
So ridiculous.
And she passes out, so they stop fighting.
But she's faking. Then you see her like lifting her head up and looking down the aisle. Marvelous. You know, for years I thought Rick and Sherry were related until I got to like middle school, and I realized that Rick Martel was French Canadian and Sherry's from like Louisiana.
Man, it's wrestling.
It's true. All right, so Gary, start with you. Favorite Randy Savage match?
Besides WrestleMania 3, just because I was and am a huge DDP mark, probably like Halloween Havoc, Savage versus Page, the blow off for their feud.
The one where Page finally got the diamond cutter on him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if I had to have if I could take a feud or a storyline, it would be that story because that was just a really good angle.
Best feud of his career. I love
if maybe the best maybe the best part was the La Parka cutter.
Oh yes,
where Page dressed up like La Parka and got the pin on Savage.
He even did the dance in the ring too.
Yes. So that was probably the best part because it made Page and he didn't have to do it.
No.
And to hear Page talk about it, he still talks about it with super great respect because Savage decided when he was going to take the cutter, told him he was going to take it. He wasn't supposed to that night.
No.
And
a house show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a house show and just thought it was time but that was the start of Page having his ribs taped up and the whole like blue collar jeans and just fighting through injuries and that doesn't happen if Randy Savage doesn't do the honors for him. He didn't have to because Page was already an old dude. Savage
he was an old dude when he broke in.
Yeah. He could have just told him, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Because
that doesn't work for me, brother.
There's a lot of guys in WCW at the time who just said that all the time. Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yep. Savage would do business. I mean, it helps that his dad was a promoter. So the kind of Minderz, how about you? Favorite Macho Man match?
I'm going with WrestleMania.
Which one?
With three. Okay. With the one
Steamboat?
he's known for, yes.
Okay.
Steamboat and Savage.
Okay. Yeah, that match is very close to perfect. The finish.
I know you don't like the finish. But...
I know. Yeah. If I had to pick a match, and I would agree with you, Gary. The Page feud was the best thing that happened to his career at the tail end. If I had to pick a match, though, I got to go with the match with Hogan at WrestleMania 5. I still think Macho should have won. If you go back in the archives, I have a pretty lengthy diatribe why Hogan was the heel in that whole scenario. But I won't rehash that.
That's a close second to me to matches that never should have went the way they went to Rick Rude versus Ultimate Warrior in the cage. Why is Rick Rude losing the Warrior in the cage?
Yeah, especially when
awful.
Rude had Warrior down and he was on top of the cage. He could have just gone out of the onto
Yeah.
the floor. Even Heenan was yelling at him. He's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
But yes, my mom did enjoy that match though when Warrior pulled Rude's pants down.
I'm sure she did.
Yeah, my brother and me not so much. I was 8, so yeah. There you have it. Macho Man was our latest inductee. I'll have to find a way to get him into the video now. So congratulations in memoriam, I guess, to the Macho Man. And that means we have one more order of business.
Bless
Say it.
Stacy's heart. Bless Stacy's heart.
I can see you judging me, Gary, from your perch.
That's a
That's-
never-ending thing, Mark. You know.
That's
It's-
oh, that's very true. Come on, I'm getting the production down here. It's professionalism, you know. But so yes, it is Top 10 Tuesday time, and it's kind of on the same lines as when we're talking about the Paphos doing greatest brother combinations in wrestling. Not some of these are going to be tag teams. They aren't all tag teams, but I think it's a worthwhile topic, and I think we can get through this. And Gary, I can see you're getting a little tired, so I'll try to be quick. He says as he drinks it.
I've been up since 5 and gonna be up again at 5. So
I hear you. Me too. I haven't had my nap today.
Uh-oh.
It's true. All right, so we'll start with number 10.
Yeah.
Harlem Heat, Booker T and Stevie Ray. They're low on here just because Stevie's accomplishments don't quite match up to what Booker did with all the world championships and whatnot.
he was no fruit booty though.
Yes, he was not a fruit booty. But I was always a big Harlem Heat fan. I thought they were awesome. Again, they had Sherry with them for a while.
As a tag team, they were really good. Stevie by himself was
not so much.
Not great. But as a tag team, I always thought they were good. I enjoyed Harlem Heat.
I love the match they had with the Outsiders that Halloween had in '96 when Hall and Nash won the tag titles. It was just really good, and it was. You would have thought that Hall and Nash would have just steamrolled them and not given anything up for them from all the stories, but they made it really, really entertaining, and we had a lot of hope spots in there too. So
well, there might have been a little bit more to that than just like Hall and Nash being super nice guys, because Booker and Stevie weren't probably gonna just be steamrolled.
No, they're tough.
They
guys.
were not tiny individuals, nor were they known for being pushovers.
Even tempered.
So I think it was more of a, we better give these guys a good match, because it could have gotten ugly, because what do they have to lose at that point if they were already losing the titles? And
I'll put it this way: Booker T called Hulk Hogan the N-word and didn't get fired.
Sure did.
On the pay-per-view.
Oh, that clip.
And you see Sherry losing it. You see Booker as soon as he said it.
He's like, "Oh, can't say that." Nope.
Oh, Booker. But yeah, so 10-time WCW Tag Champs, and then Booker, of course, 6-time World Champ, all that. So yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer there. Number 9, our latest inductee, Randy Savage and Lanny Poffo, are number 9. Same reason, like Lanny's accomplishments somewhat pale in comparison to what the Macho Man did in his career. Looks like we lost Minderz for a minute. Did you get back in here in a second. But Gary, Macho, and Lanny.
Well, I mean, down what they were in Smoky, but they in Mid-South or Smoky Mountain?
ICW. There was no
ICW?
Smoky Mountain when they were.
Oh,
ICW
okay.
was the outlaw promotion that Angelo started in Memphis.
Well, I thought they both worked for.
Lanny worked
thought
Mid-South early.
Yeah, but I thought they were. I thought when Randy actually got picked up, they were working for either Jarrett or
Yeah.
Lawler.
After ICW went under, they went to Continental and worked with the Jarrett Lawler promotion.
Yeah.
Because Randy had that feud with Lawler, and then that's where I think he got really noticed, and Vince signed him. Because that's where he started doing the Macho Man thing. I think was in that time frame. Yeah. And Lanny was wearing his suit of armor, which I still don't know why. My brother could probably tell me why. But I mean, Randy was awesome in all aspects of his game. Lanny was really entertaining for the poems and the pageantry, I guess we'll call it. I enjoyed him as the genius, you know. But yeah, so I got them at number 9. Number 8, we got the Briscoe brothers, Jay and Mark. Same idea, just for tag team work. I mean, 13-time tag champs. Jay's a 2-time world champion. Mark just got signed to AEW. Or I don't know if that means he's going to be in the Ring of Honor leg of Tony's Empire.
Yeah,
but I want to see him challenge Claudio for the Ring of Honor world title, though, at Supercard of Honor. I don't think it'll happen, though.
He should. I don't know what they're going to do. Like, he's still got the tag belts, and I understand that. But I'm just kind of wondering if they're going to do like a tag tournament, or if he's going to find a partner, or what he's going to do.
I can't speak for Mark. I can't imagine his mental state with all this stuff going on. I can't imagine him just teaming up with somebody else this soon after Jay passed. So I would assume he's going to forfeit the titles, you know. But I don't know. Mark's a weird guy. He's got a really positive outlook about all of this, so you never know. He might. But
yeah.
So it just kind of remains to be seen. But my favorite tag team of the last 20 years. I mean, we talked about these guys for almost 2 hours about 3 weeks ago, so we don't have to go into a whole lot about the Briscoes. So we'll go ahead and move on. Number 6 is Begrudging, because they might be my least favorite brother combination on this list, but for success reasons, I put them high on the list.
Yeah.
At the Hardys.
Yeah.
I got Matt, who entertains me, and Jeff, who I'm surprised hasn't killed himself in the ring at some point with his ridiculous high-risk maneuvers and whatnot.
Sloppy and not as sloppy.
Yeah. Oh, I think we got Minderz back. Minderz?
Yeah.
All right. So, in your absence, we
I
talked
had
about
technical
the Poffos.
difficulties.
I know. It's nice that it's not me for once. But while you were gone, we talked about the Poffos and we talked about the Briscoes, Mark and Jay Briscoe, not Jack and Jerry. And now we're talking about the Hardys. There we go. So, Gary and I have expressed our not huge fandom of the Hardys, although we respect what they've accomplished. That's why they're on the list this high up with all the.
Don't get me wrong. When they first showed up, they were so different that I popped for them. In their first ladder match they did, I'd never seen anything like it.
That was my favorite ladder match. Was that match with Edge and Christian,
and it was incredible.
And I did like when they were with Michael Hayes.
And honestly, even when they were young, Jeff wasn't nearly as sloppy when they were younger. He was much more crisp with everything. But I think as he got older, I don't know if he just
got complacent.
Or he just got hurt. I know the swanton he just lands on people now because it's easier on his body.
Yeah,
but
I don't care about the other guy.
That's the truth. Like, and everybody's like, it's like taking like a sack of bricks on you because it's just.
Yeah, when it comes to the Hardys, that there's nothing better than early Hardys. When you're talking like WrestleMania 17,
I do agree with that.
Yeah, like
99 to 01 Hardys, I think, is the sweet spot.
Yes.
when you had like Hardys versus Edge and Christian, Hardys versus Dudleys, like those early days, yeah. Even like I would say up to Jeff getting his first title, like he
Mhm.
was still it was I was losing my taste for it by that point. But it
Yeah.
was still but it was just like we were talking about earlier. They just kept doing
Yeah.
it was like how many ladder and Edge has talked about it and Christian's talked about it. They're like we were so synonymous with the ladder match that we were so sick of ladder matches that they meant nothing after a while. Like
Yeah.
you just had to do a ladder match. Well, why are we doing a ladder match? Oh, because you do ladder matches. Oh, well, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Stop.
I think
Why
Bully,
we
I think Bully Ray said they stopped doing ladder matches because they couldn't top what they had done before
Right.
without being in
killing
actual
themselves?
danger.
Well, yeah, all the stuff they did was should have like I don't know how. When you look back at all those dumb spots that ladder matches have caused, like well, the one where Christian almost died. One where and it was just him stepping off the ladder and he was supposed to step on the top rope and he just
Oh
misses the
yeah.
top rope.
Oh
Like
yeah.
he just like or he barely hits the top rope and he falls like
Right.
almost from the out of the ring just out.
Right.
And he was
He almost
barely
owned
able to
himself.
he was barely able to wake up in time to get he like woke up just in time to get to his spot.
Was that
They didn't know
X7?
if he was I think so. They didn't know if he was awake or what.
I think
And
that's why Rhino had to carry him up the ladder.
Mhm.
I don't remember if that's it, but that was a great spot no matter what.
Yes. Ugh.
But yeah.
And then can't forget when Jeff almost broke Joey Mercury's face. It's not even almost. He actually did break Joey Mercury's face
Yeah,
with
he
that
just shattered
breaking
his
the ladder
face.
spot.
Yep. Shattered it,
Oh,
yeah.
one of the grossest things I ever seen in a wrestling match. All right, so let's move on. Number 10, 9, number 6. I have to count out loud sometimes. Probably my favorite tag team of all time, the Steiner Brothers. Along with all of the tag titles, Scotty had a handful of world titles. Rick was a TV champion, U.S. champion. They held everything in WCW for the most part, plus Japan. And yeah, so just for that 10-year period or so, 89 to 99, it was just awesome.
Well, when I first started watching wrestling, I didn't understand why you had Rick Steiner barking like a dog. I was like,
He's the
these guys are really
dog-faced
good.
gremlin.
This duck-faced
I
gremlin.
was like, but why does he just like run around and bark like a dog? And then Scott just, what is this? I'm like, they're really good. And then when I started watching like Japanese wrestling, like they were brutal in Japan. And of course, then you had Scott Steiner just Steiner screwdrivering people.
Oh,
And that, Mindy, if you've never seen, have you ever seen a Steiner
I
screwdriver?
think I've seen it once or twice.
If
I'll
you
go,
have, he does it to oh man.
Hase.
Well, he does it to Hase. There was another guy he did it to that used to do who was the Japanese guy who did he did a power bomb and then into a power bomb and then you pick him up into the DVD.
Oh, shoot. Is it wasn't Tenzan? Not Tenzan.
No. Whoever it was, Scott Steiner almost killed that man in
lovely.
Japan. It's because Steiner screwdrove him and it just he just drops him. He didn't like hold him. He's just like,
no.
Eh.
Like, I'll catch you, I promise.
With his legs, sort of, and his body just crumbles. He had no regard for this poor Japanese man's life at all. And I was like, oh, the Steiner brothers are crazy.
Brian Cage does the Steiner screwdriver now, but he does it a much safer version.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Plus, he's strong enough that he can, if he loses you, he's probably going to catch you.
If he feels like it.
Big strong man. But,
yeah. He's a big, strong boy.
Yeah. Managed by, Stacy calls Prince Nana Santa Claus. Brian Cage, because he wears the red scarf on his head and it looks like a Santa hat. You called him Santa Claus. The wife is in the background. She thinks I'm speaking out of turn, which I might be. All right, number 5. I mean, come on, Brett and
Yeah.
Owen. And I always said I liked Owen better. I thought Owen was a better worker than Brett.
Owen was the best Hart. Period.
Yes.
Dude was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Around that same time when I was watching all the Japanese tapes, we happened upon, it was about the same time we had got the best of Ultimo Dragon, where he was like doing double moonsaults and stuff, and it was just incredible. We found a best of Owen in like Stampede and Japan.
Oh, wow.
He was doing stuff then in the late 80s that people weren't doing on a regular basis until like the late 90s. He was like a decade ahead. Like he was rolling over people's backs. He was flipping out of things, but he wasn't
did
doing
the thing
it
where
all
he
the time.
bounced off the top rope into a backflip.
Yeah. And he was like a decade ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
And he was definitely the best promo of the Hart brothers.
Yeah, definitely.
But Owen
Definitely.
was so good.
He is not a nugget.
No, he's not a nugget.
Definitely.
Definitely much better than Bruce.
Yeah. Although Bruce, bless his heart, always tried to get booked on the shows.
Yeah. Well,
remember the Canadian Stampede when Bruce kind of I thought Bruce went in business for himself with one of the Road Warriors, which is not a good idea.
No.
I think he did that I think maybe with Austin too on that match. That was the big 10-man tag match, the In Your House match.
Mm.
But we're not here to talk about Bruce Hart. We're here to talk about our number 4. You said
good segue.
like a champion.
Good segue.
From Mexico, we got Mil Máscaras and Dos Caras. I mean, Mil Máscaras is probably the most famous luchador of all time, outside of maybe El Santo.
Yeah.
And Dos Caras, I think, is Alberto Del Rio's father, if my thinking is right.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. Dos Caras on the right in the blue, Mil Máscaras here in the yellow. But yeah,
wait, is Silver King is their brother too, right?
I believe so. Yeah, maybe.
Or was? Did Silver King pass away?
Silver King passed away. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he may have passed away in the ring.
As we all go to our phones to go look it up.
Let's see. Personal. Let's see.
Oh no, he's Dr. Wagner Jr.
Dr. Wagner,
brother.
yeah. He's Dr. Wagner's brother. Okay.
Dr. Wagner Jr. Dr. Wagner. That was always my favorite lucha name because it's so ridiculous. Yeah. Dr. Wagner. And then there was Dr. Wagner Jr. because with a name as impressive as Dr. Wagner,
you need El Hijo de Dr. Wagner.
Dr. Wagner sounds like a podiatrist.
It does. Yeah, Wagner. Why Wagner in Mexico?
It's like, paging Dr. Wagner. Paging Dr. Wagner.
Dr. Wagner to colostomy.
Yeah.
But I digress. So, but yeah, I think they deserve to be on the list just for their impact on Mexican wrestling and lucha libre as a whole. But I don't know a lot about either one of them, so I'll kind of gloss over them a little bit. Number 3, the other Briscoes, as fans know them now.
Yeah.
Jack and Jerry, the OG Briscoes. Not related to Jay and Mark.
Yeah, Jack they are, Mark. We're keeping kayfabe here. Shut up.
Look at the spelling. There's no E on Briscoe.
I know.
Freddie Joe and Floyd Briscoe, which is actually where Tracy Smothers got the name Freddie Joe Floyd. and creative. But no, Jack, two-time world heavyweight champion. Jerry was the world junior heavyweight champion, world tag team champions all over the place. Ran Georgia. Then Jerry, as Vince's right-hand man,
Lackey.
made for great television. Him and
Yes, he
Pat
did.
Patterson, Mr. McMahon, as he called him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jack, I love the story Bradshaw told where Jack, before a title match, he would sit in the locker room, smoke a cigarette, do 6 push-ups, and then go out and wrestle for an hour, and then come back. And you won't see that very much these days.
No.
No.
I mean, you won't see anybody wrestle for an hour these days, hardly at all. Which I don't know how MJF's going to do that at the pay-per-view, but that's neither here nor there.
There's going to be a lot of hiding, I think. But
There's going to be a lot of wrestles, I think, but that's I digress. All right, number 2, got the Von Erichs. I only went with David, Kevin, and Kerry just because Chris and Mike didn't really have really notable wrestling careers.
Mhm.
It's no fault of anyone's. I mean,
Do you have
toxic
the
shock
fake-
syndrome is a very real thing.
Do you have the fake Von Erich?
Lance, I
Yeah.
think Lance was a cousin,
Yeah, he was a cousin.
Yeah.
but everybody knew he wasn't even related to them, so they just pooped all over the ankle.
Well, I mean, God
It was just
bless.
some guy that lived in Dallas.
God bless Fritz, but and I know
Yeah,
he
when
was
you're-
trying. I know he was trying to keep his promotion alive, but good Lord, man! Like, how many kids do you have to? I mean, it sounds horrible, but God, how many kids? Literally, how many children do you have to lose to a business
All
before
but
you
one.
before
All
you
but one.
finally say, "Oh, I should probably get out of this business"?
And as far as Lance Von Erich goes, if you're running a territory for 30 years and everybody that watches your show has watched your children grow up and knows everything about your family, maybe not introduce a new relative. Just, they could have put Brian Adias in that role. He was like they booked him like he was Carrie's friend from like childhood.
Well,
He could have worked in that.
It's
Spot.
it's like when it was like be on a sitcom when all of a sudden Leonardo DiCaprio was moving into the
Growing pains.
Growing pains.
Yeah,
Yep.
just like showing up,
He's the troubled youth.
or
Yeah.
like he's basically Scrappy Doo Von Erich.
He's Scrappy Doo Von Erich. Yes.
He's just, nobody really liked him. He was there.
And he was pretty.
He was pretty.
He was a pretty man.
He was sort of related. He kind of looked like him.
Not really.
But-
He didn't. He looked nothing like the rest. He had blonde hair.
He will never be.
Oh,
From this
shoot.
day forward, he will be Scrappy Doo Von Erich.
Scrappy Doo Von Erich. I like it.
It's going to be to a point where we're the only ones that know that in our however
Well,
many
unless-
listeners we still have.
Well, a more obscure one would be like Zeppo Von Erich.
Chuck Cunningham Von Erich.
Yeah, like
Oliver. Like
Yeah.
Brady Bunch. Cousin Oliver.
Cousin Oliver.
Curly Joe Von Erich. It's just somebody replacing somebody for no reason.
Remember when Ted McGinley showed up on Happy Days for a season as Marion's nephew,
Other Darren Von Erich.
Sergeant York Von Erich.
Sergeant York.
We could do this forever, but
Let's get
We're
to
getting-
number one, Red.
let's get to number 1. Anybody that's been following along, it's pretty easy to guess what number 1 is, especially considering my own fandom.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have the Funks on there. It's
Telling me
not
the
a
Dudleys
great
aren't-
picture.
Telling me the Dudleys aren't really brothers.
Oh, I got bad news for you, buddy.
Edge and Christian aren't brothers?
Uh,
You're breaking my
Neither-
heart.
the Smoking Guns,
Bart and Billy.
Bart and Billy Gunn.
the Dupps. Remember the Dupps?
Or the Godwins.
They
Godwins.
were cousins.
Oh, that's right, they were.
Henry and Phineas were cousins.
Oh,
I could have put Tonga Kid and Rikishi on here,
Yeah. Wait, we're Alpha and Sika brothers?
Yeah, they could have gone on there too.
Yeah.
I could have put them on instead of Booker and Stevie, I suppose. But
No.
Nah.
I'm happy with my list.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gary was like, no more. This is fine.
Honorable mention. But
Honorable mention.
no, the
so-
Funks. Yeah. Well, it was
Funk's
always
definitely-
weird because Dory seems, even when he wasn't like 90, he always seemed like he was so much older
Yes.
than Terry. And so it always seemed kind of like that father and son.
You would have thought Dory Sr. was the son and Dory Jr. was the father.
Yeah.
But I think to this day, I think they're still the only brothers to hold the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
Until Dustin wins it. Or if Tyrus has her brother. By the way, happy birthday to Tyrus. He's 50 today.
He's seriously 50?
He's 50. I couldn't believe it.
Well, I mean,
Oh.
I don't.
Gary,
I don't
you
know.
look, you have thoughts.
Oh, I do, but he was entertaining back in the day. He was never good by any stretch of the imagination, and I
He
don't.
was good enough.
And I understand why Billy put the belt on him because he's on Fox and he brings the belt with him, puts it on national TV, put it on the Super Bowl commercial. It's a great move, but man, like it is
put
getting
the belt on Cardona.
Yeah, you gotta strap up Cardona or somebody. I'm sure Aldis is on his way out.
Aldis is already gone. I don't
Aldis
know
is
where
gone.
he's at. Yeah.
Is he gone?
Well, he was at
now?
Dreamwave 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think he's done with the NWA for now.
So he was at Dreamwave 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because I got to see him wrestle against Mike Bennett.
Nice.
Oh,
He
that's
wrestled
fine.
at the Expo last year. He might wrestle again this year.
Woohoo! Yeah, he's supposed to be there.
Yeah, he's booked there. Mickey's booked there. Balborton Jr. got announced today.
I saw that.
And Buff Bagwell.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about that.
I hear he's the stuff.
Buff cracks me up.
I'll get a Sprayberry High School wrestling T-shirt and have him sign it for me.
There you go.
That might be a bit of a deep cut.
Just yeah.
You can tell when I really get to Gary because he just resigns himself.
The only good thing Buff Bagwell ever did is every time that we introduce ourselves when we actually play a show, he always introduced me as something, and I always introduce Mark as Marcus Alexander Buff Redman. So
which nobody gets because they don't know my middle name.
No, but it's the only thing Buff Bagwell has ever done. Yeah, it's the only thing Buff Bagwell has ever done for me that I cared about is give me that wordplay.
Hey, if it wasn't for Buff Bagwell, we never would have gotten a Judy Bagwell on a pole match.
That is that is true.
That's true.
We'd also never had like a whole segment that was dedicated to him getting rolled out of the ring.
That's true. And also can we talk about the abomination that was the American Males for just a split second?
Oh, that was him and
Scotty Riggs. Scotty Anton in ECW.
American Males.
Awful music.
American Males.
Yeah, the music was awful.
American Males.
The gear was atrocious. They looked like Chippendale dancers.
Well, that's where the Marcus Alexander Bagwell came from.
Is that what they're trying to do now with the Maxim male models then?
I don't know what they're doing. They're trying to get Otis now.
I know, I saw that.
Honestly, if they would have done
which I'm all for.
If they would have done that gimmick right, I would have been all for it. Like if they would just went balls to the wall with it, that would have been great. If they would have just been like two guys that looked like models that brawl when they got in the ring was able to brawl, they would have just been like bigger versions of Fandango and Breeze, which I love.
Yeah.
So you can have some comedy, but you just let them work. Like they're not horrible, neither one of them.
Who was it that Rick Martel was with? Because he was the
Martel
model.
was supposed to. He was solo as the model. He was
Yeah, but he
supposed
was
to. Well, he was with Tito with Strike Force,
Tito, Strike
Right.
Force.
Right.
but in the late
I was
'90s, he
thinking
was
there
supposed
was.
to come back. He was supposed to come back with Cyrus, with Don Callis as a tag team as the supermodels.
Okay.
But it
Yeah.
wound up not happening. Rick signed with WCW instead and won the TV title.
Oh,
I
arrogance.
think they might have shot vignettes of them in thongs and things.
Oh,
I'm
jeez.
glad I've never seen said. And on that note, I think it's time to pay some bills before we say goodbye. We went a little long today, but that's all right. Gary, I apologize, but
It's half my fault.
jumping. Oh, it's fine. Once we get you on a tangent, Gary, you get so excitable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we going on a tangent about 01 before we get off of here?
We'll touch on it a little bit. We'll be pay
All
the
right.
bills real quick, Minderz. All
Okay.
right, ProWrestlingTees.com/JTR Pod for all, or well, most of your Jumping the Rail merchandise nowadays. Multiple T-shirts. Let's see them here. I think you're wearing
got
this one
mine.
on the. Yep.
Yep.
Got more here.
There's my
I
house
like that Cheap
fights.
Trick one. Yeah, I like that Cheap Trick one. I can do that design better. I might take that off and redo it. And then, boom, there we go.
Gosh, I own a lot of these. I still need to
Hey,
get
so
that
do
one
I.
though.
And we thank you.
I'm sure.
Then
Oh,
here's
there's our shootout.
here's our 01 shootout stuff. Dallas is my buddy. All this stuff. If you listen to the shootout, you know what these mean. This is the name name things is one of my favorites.
Yep, it's one of mine too.
Then this one, I haven't ordered this yet. I think if the internet isn't lying to me, this is how you rate Jumping the Rail in Japanese.
Ah.
So that's why that's on there.
Interested to see
And I
if
don't know
that's
why
really what it is.
I've got this one on two different slides. I should have done that better.
That's all right.
So that's what you get on Jumping the Rail Pro Wrestling Tees. Then also, as you know, on brainbustertees.com/long convoluted address, you see it here. And we got a few things here. Not nearly as much as we have on Pro Wrestling Tees, but we can do the hoodies here. We can do the baseball shirts. And also, now available, we have fanny packs, by the way, with the Jumping the Rail logo on them. I'm going to assume that's not sarcasm, Minderz.
Nope, not at all. We need those for when we go to the 01 shows.
That's right. I am a fan of the fanny pack. I may have to get some 01 shootout fanny packs made. I got the Jumping the Rail one done.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then we got caps, we got stocking cap, we got other various things that aren't on this thing. So go check that out. Like I said, you're helping us out, helping us keep the bills paid. And also, since we don't have a shootout before Thursday, if you're watching this, don't forget I have these 01 shootout koozies available with the Jumping the Rail Podcast Network logo on the back. I'll have them with me on Thursday at the Thursday Night Throwdown, and also on Saturday when I go to the 01 show in Mattoon. $5 each if you want one. Just come find me. I'm not hard to find. Just look for this
Front
face.
row.
Front
or
row,
my hair.
Yep.
I'm probably sitting next to you, so my hair will work
right.
too.
I may give you a stash of them to keep handy in case they come bug you about it too. But yeah, so like I said, it helps us out, keeping the bills paid and everything like that. And as we said, Gary, if you want to get out of here, we will let you go. And,
all right. Yep, you guys talk about 01 and stuff. But I'm gonna go.
Yeah, since
go to sleep.
All right.
Yep, all right. That is the Italian Stallion, Grumpy Gary Vasilio.
Yes.
See you in a couple weeks, buddy.
Yep.
Bye, Gary.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So we won't get too far because we're already at 2.5 hours, Minderz.
Yeah.
But
let's make it
like
short
I said, we're
and
not
sweet.
Our shootout this week is going to be on Friday, so we want to get a little bit of info in from here. And actually, you know what? I can.
Do you have pictures?
This.
Oh,
I switched over to the 01 shootout. I feel like Danhausen with like t-shirts. So just to make sure that we get the stuff in. But see, I don't have all the pictures up, but I do have the matches available.
Do you have the main match that I'm concerned about? Well, take that back. I'm talking Thursday Night Throwdown, the main match we're concerned about.
The main one is the ladder match, I believe, to determine the Thursday Night Throwdown champion. Devontae Knox, Theo White, B.A. Malkin, CMC. I
Just
think we
like to
pretty much
say, I
agreed.
picked all 4 of those.
You picked all 4 winners in that tournament, so yeah, you points to Minderz for that one. Oops, wrong one. Where is the Thursday night? There we go. I want to make sure I get my graphics up. There we go.
There you go.
So yeah, I think we agree. I think we're both thinking CMC is going to take this one. Minderz, great kid,
Well, you know, there's
talented.
a good argument for 3 of them in that match. So,
There's
but
argument for 4 of them.
I'm sticking with
There's not a wrong choice out of this group of guys here. I would
No,
love
but
to see
I'm
it be
going
B.A. Malkin, to be honest with you.
I know you would. I think partly just to
Where's
annoy
my I
me,
Heart Heels
but
shirt?
yeah, no kidding. You want me to? Well, wait, mine's only a 1X, or I'd bring it for you.
Yeah, it'll be a bib.
Yeah, right.
All right.
But yeah, between CMC and Devontae, I think that's going to be our 2.
Probably, I'm inclined to agree, but like I said, I'd love to see Malkin at least make it interesting.
I'm sure he will.
Oh yeah, we got a handicap match. Minderz, Brutus F and Dylan. I think I said it right. Unless it's F and Brutus Dylan. I forget how the nickname goes.
Brutus F and Dylan, I think.
Taking on the Angler and the Glitch, 2 stalwarts of the 01 USA dojo.
So the Angler and the Glitch are the ones that are handicapped in this, correct?
Yeah, I think the edge goes to Brutus on this one.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't like these guys' chances. Brutus is a beast.
He is a beast.
But,
although he was not there last Thursday with Jabari King.
He wasn't.
So
no. Jabari teamed up with Theo, right?
Yep.
Yeah. See, I watched.
So, you did. I'm so proud.
Yes. All right. Tyler Scott versus Blake Wright. I got a soft spot for Tyler because he's from Danville. That's my old stomping grounds. Him and Stetson Winters also, I think, is from Danville.
Yep.
But Blake Wright, I love what Blake Wright's doing right now Thursday night. Just there's a good.
I'm interested to see what Rob's how he's gonna mess with Blake this week.
The general meddler, as our buddy Dallas Preacher calls him.
As our buddy Dallas calls him.
Yes. I should have hit up Dallas to give us a fact since we don't have a show until
Friday. We'll get it for Friday. We'll talk to him Thursday. Yeah. We'll get it for Friday.
All right. 5-star Jesse J, featured guest on the shootout. Taking on Ricky Rodriguez. I understand this is his trainer.
Yes, that is what I've heard.
Yeah, so I'll be curious to see this. I'm not real familiar with Ricky Rodriguez's work, but that's more of fault of mine than anybody's. So that should be interesting. I like Jesse. I think he's a talented guy.
1 star.
I know you say, is he
2.5
had him up to 2.5.
I do. I have him at 2.5. I have a feeling, though, after what I saw last Thursday, we'll have to see what type of shape Eli Wilder's in.
Yeah, he's wait, what?
What? There's becoming a little, huh? There's a little heat between him and BA. And...
Oh, you're jumping ahead of me here.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll get to Eli.
Oh.
But
okay.
Hang on, I got these all in order. I want to make sure I don't lose my place.
Okay.
Jesse Reigns versus El Magnifico.
No, jeez.
I'll say El Magnifico's English is better than LDLC from their tag match.
I did talk with LDLC. I told him we were working on getting him an interpreter. So.
Okay. All right.
So
good deal. Maybe we'll have to get Magnifico.
Out. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
get
Jesse
them
Reigns,
on together.
I think, wants to. Yeah.
Jesse's got a lot to say. To say.
Jesse's one I want to get on. You know, I don't know if I showed you this, Minderz, but I have these are clip-on wireless lavalier microphones that I can hook up to my phone.
Oh, nice.
So we can do some of these on the spot interviews if we want to at these Stone Out shows here and there.
That'll be fun.
And then there's I won't do it this time, but I get it all figured out and everything. But yeah, so Jesse Reigns, he's got a bit of we'll call it a beef with Theo White right now.
A little bit. Who does Jesse Reigns not have a beef with right now?
Me.
It wasn't for now.
Well, he's a listener, so yeah. Then my fellow Danvillian Stetson winners against LDLC.
That'll be fun. That'll be a good one.
It'll be a fun one. Yeah.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah. And then now we get to the three-way match: Hippie Johnny, Logan Myers, Eli Wilder. Potentially Eli Wilder, depending on his health. After last week when he got bludgeoned by BA.
BA. And BA was saying he was
Just whooped the
saving
hell out
Eli
of him.
Wilder. Yeah, he did. It was a little brutal. He was saving.
Did he say what he was saving him from?
From him, I don't really know. It was on that. You'll have to check out the website or the promo that I posted. I
got to go back and listen to the promo.
Yeah.
But yes, that's something to be interested in.
Definitely.
If it's all three guys and they're all in ship shape, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I would pick Eli if he's healthy. If not, I'm thinking Logan Myers for this one.
If Eli's not healthy, I'm going to go with Logan.
Yeah. And then
definitely
our favorite luminary, one Jacques Kennedy. It doesn't say they're gonna have Big Man Chan with them this time on the card.
Big Man Chan did not come out with them last week.
That's true. Well, Big Man Chan had a match.
But he had a match. But Big Man Chan
didn't go well.
Did not come out with Jacques. It did not. No. I can't get that visual out of my head. It's disturbing.
Has Big Man Chan forsaken Jacques for the lowlifes?
I don't know. All I know is that when Chan woke up this last match, all he did was, as I was walking out, he looked at me and said, "Hey, I think I know you." So.
Oh, wow. He got his bell rung then.
Oh, yeah. Sure did.
Jeez.
Got to check it out on the Patreon. Yes. I know you did, but everybody else needs to.
I did. Yeah. As far as who's going to accept this open challenge, we don't know who it's going to be yet. But I know we have a friend of the show who expressed some interest in maybe going to Edgewood sometime to check out these TNT shows. One, I don't know, his nickname rhymes with Schmouderkeg.
Schmouderkeg? What, you mean this guy?
That guy, yeah. Jimmy Carrot, he hasn't made an appearance in Edgewood yet in the last month since they started doing these shows.
Him and Basil are probably getting prepared for Saturday. So
yeah, because
I don't know if we'll see.
It's funny you mentioned Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Friday.
I do have the pictures for
Friday
Saturday
when we have our jumping the rail.
Friday, our shootout on Friday, it's going to be cool. We're going to do it usual time, 5:00, and we're going to have the number one contender for the 0-1 USA Heavyweight Championship, the damn Coyote, Christian Rose, calling in. And I have been in contact with Christian Rose. He will be there.
Sweet.
We had a bit of an issue with that. No fault of anyone's really, but.
Yep.
But yeah, so that'll be fun. Find out about what he thinks of the lowlifes in this iteration, wrestling Joey, all that kind of stuff. Joey O'Reilly, for you guys that haven't checked out the shootout.
Maybe we'll get some good dirt stories on Joey from, back when he was just starting out as a lowlife.
Yeah, there you go. Find out about Periwinkle, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. He's going to kill us.
Oh, jeez. I still want to find out how he got into our chat that one day. But,
yeah.
Okay, there was a match. The only match I don't have a thumbnail for on this card for Saturday, everyone has his Thorn on the 25th. I don't have a card for the match that just got announced, Minderz, which is the Kenway making his big return from, I don't know where he is.
So excited.
Former 0-1 heavyweight champion.
He had taken a break.
Taking a break. But but the Kenway has come back, and he's going to be taking on the Warhorse. I'm sorry, Warhorse.
Hold on,
not the Warhorse.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Trying to find it. Oh, there we go.
So, but both of these guys are former heavyweight champions in 0-1. You guys might recognize Warhorse. He wrestled Cody on Dynamite a couple of years ago in a TNT Open Challenge match.
He sure did. But, that was when everybody was pretty much.
They were on lockdown. They were still quarantined.
Yeah, everybody said Cody feared Warhorse.
Yeah, I think Warhorse actually went on Busted Open. He went viral.
Yeah.
with that match. So, but it'll be cool to see him. I haven't seen him live in a little over a year, about maybe a year and a half.
Oh,
At a
you
Black
weren't
Label
there when
Pro
he was
show.
at 01 last, huh?
No, I had a gig that weekend. I couldn't make it.
Ah, you
But
missed that one.
now I was at a show where he teamed up with Dan the Dad, Effie, and Danhausen in an 8-man tag match against
Okay,
4 other
that would be
Danhausens.
fun. Oh my jeez. Okay,
But that was
but
good.
Dan,
All right,
yeah, Dan the Dad. Okay, yeah. Move on.
you have the mug somewhere, I'm sure. Main event
Yes.
for Saturday: Mad Dog Connolly, Camaro Jackson in the dog collar match. I fear for the safety of both of these individuals.
I fear for the
Like
safety
I'm
of anybody in the ring or in the area.
building. I will
Yeah, there
be
we go.
I will be in the concession area, hiding behind the windows. I may bring the
Look for me
wife.
in a corner somewhere. Yeah, you might bring the wife. You might bring you.
Hey,
Okay,
Connolly stole her chair at the last show,
he did.
and
He
and
very well
almost
did.
stole Andrea Lynch's arm, also, just
Yeah,
from
tried.
getting caught up in it. Uh,
Yep.
all right, Christian Rose, Joey O'Reilly. We talked about this a little bit for the championship. Christian Rose is a former heavyweight champion, also former, I guess, leader of the low lives, for
Yes.
all lack of a better term. So this will be interesting. Punched Port Dallas Preacher right in the nose at the last Mattoon
Poor
show for no reason.
Dallas. No
He
reason.
couldn't
Poor
have hit Tony.
Dallas. Right.
Like, you couldn't have punched.
Couldn't you have hit the one that you needed to hit?
I shouldn't have said that out loud. But
Yeah, you should have.
no, I think this match is gonna be a lot of fun.
I do too.
I hope Christian has a plan for the small army that'll be gathered outside of the ring for this one.
Ah, will Dallas's arm still be all messed up is the question.
That's a good question. Dallas Preacher was laid up at the last show, did not compete. He was just there at ringside. He didn't say anything when we had him on the shootout about being laid up for
He
too
said he
long.
had some.
So
He said he had a couple MRIs.
Had an
So hopefully
MRI.
those. Yeah, an
Yeah.
MRI. So hopefully he got good
hopefully
results there.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. The T01 USA Shining Light Championship. Jacques
Yay.
Kennedy defending against Devontae Knox and Jimmy Carrot here.
Yeah.
We pretty much agree. Triple threat rule. Champion probably going to keep the title. It'll
As
be
much
fun,
as I
though.
hate to admit it.
Jimmy will continue to get his pound of flesh from Jacques.
Yep.
And Jimmy said Devontae might be just collateral damage in this match.
I'm gonna say
when
what I
we
said
had
before.
Jimmy on the
Devontae,
shootout.
watch your back.
Yes. Maybe bring Chris O'Brien out with a chair to back him up. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Chris is lethal with those chairs.
He is.
Just ask Dallas.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Tag
there's our
team
Country Air
championship.
boys.
Country Air versus Tao. Like I said, I'm really curious about this match because I'm not familiar with Tao as a team. I know they popped up in the Battle Royal a couple shows ago, but yeah, Country Air is rolling right now. I think they hang on to the titles here. I think they're keeping them warm for the Bruisers, Minderz.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, because the Bruisers are so undefeated. No, they're not.
They are undefeated.
No, they're not.
I will. That's why they're.
Eli says they're not.
Well, if anybody would know, it would be Eli.
It would be Eli.
Yeah. CMC, we talked about a little bit. Talking about the Thursday show. He might be the TNT champion going into this show. We'll have to find out if he's going to put that belt on the line if he wins on Thursday against Jordan.
Oh, don't do that. That's the Thursday night championship. Only if Jordan shows up on a Thursday night should he get a chance at that belt.
That's true. Jordan's kind of a hard guy to pin down, no pun intended, for Thursdays.
But what was it Dallas called him? The
Tragedy?
No, not CMC.
Oh.
What he called Jordan?
Chubby Man-Child. Oh,
nope.
The Fixer.
The Fixer. That was what he called him, the Fixer.
Yeah, I think he actually got that from me, but I'll let him have it.
Oh, okay.
But
I
like
wasn't going to say
Jordan is very much a fixer for the Lives.
Wasn't going to talk about
CMC.
Chubby
Dallas had some unkind words for our buddy CMC, and so all right. Then the last match we have on here, Jake Lander against Eli Wilder.
The match I'm
Again,
paying for,
we'll have to see.
apparently.
Apparently, we'll have to see if it happens. I mean, let's see how Eli's doing after last week.
Yep.
I mean,
I think
if
I
he's
don't
not,
think Eli's gonna. But
I
if he's
think we'll
not
get a good idea.
100%,
If he's
yeah,
not 100%, Jake's going to tear him apart.
yeah,
But
he will.
if Eli can't go, I've got an idea for a suitable substitute.
Oh yeah. Who are you thinking?
A certain low life thug, no more.
Oh, maybe
Because
Marvin.
Marvin might be there. He might be. He's on the poster.
He's on the poster. So is
He is
Kyle.
on the poster. But for now, we got Jake and Eli. Which, if Eli's good to go, it's going to be a hell of a match.
Yeah,
No
it will
bullshit.
be. It'll be a great
So
match.
this card
Could
is
be the
just really
sleeper.
stacked top to bottom. It could very
Yep.
easily be the sleeper, but this card is just stacked top to bottom for this show, Minderz. I'm
Yes,
looking
it
forward to
is.
it.
We've
And,
got a lot of wrestling this week, so I'm excited about it.
We do. And Minderz, with our extra 0-1 coverage, we've gone to almost 2 hours and 45 minutes. I think this is a good time to
Call it a day.
to call it. Thank you for kind of putting a little bit of OT with me on this. Like I said, we wanted to get a little bit of 0-1 stuff on here just because we're not doing a shootout till after Thursday. But yeah, I had to switch the backdrop once we started talking about the 0-1. It's but
It's
yeah,
fine.
so just quick reminder: ProWrestlingTees.com/JTRPod, BrainbusterTees.com/other-JTR-podcast-network, which I'm impressed I remembered it off the top of my head. And yeah, koozies for $5 when we get there on Thursday and Saturday. You can hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on YouTube, on the JTR Podcast Network. Subscribe, and yeah, I think this is a good time to say adieu. And where is my? Oh, hang on. I need to switch back to my jumping the rail thing, so I have my closing credits here. There we go. All right. So for Gary Vasilio, who we let duck out early because he doesn't know anything about 0-1, and Minderz, this is Redmond reminding you all life is hard, work stiff, and we will see you in 2 weeks.